Street gospel, light of the temple. Sword swing, killer live from the ghetto. The hood messenger, let them know hell's close. Black burial, the devil in a black cloak.
Yo, what is up? Welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. I'm your host, Dave One, and this is episode number... Hey, yo, Cam, what episode is this?
This is episode number...
You gotta be ready, bro.
120.
Episode number... You got it. You're sweating over there for a minute. I saw you. Episode number 120. Yo, everybody out there, if you haven't caught episode number 119, we had Derek Billingsley. A dope dude, man. I didn't know him. Somebody recommended him. I checked him out. He was a local guy, so great story from Derek. A lot of cool views. We didn't see eye to eye on everything, but, I mean, the thing I liked about Derek is that he was, like, open to hear your opinion. And I think that's a good thing because a lot of people just want to have their way and that's it and don't want to talk about it. But he was like, hey, I'm open to certain things. And we had some good discussion before and after the podcast, but definitely a dope dude. Hope you guys go and check it out. And look, hit the subscribe button. We need you to hit the subscribe button. Go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel. We would really appreciate that. But today we have a guest, man, and I'm glad I finally got him here, man. I mean, we went back and forth for a minute. Yeah, definitely was, I had a jacked up tooth. He had a jacked up tooth. It just happened like that back to back, but kept his word. He came through. This guy right here, he's a father, a husband, a firefighter, overcomer, a survivor, right? Yeah. I mean, he's a believer, a new believer. Yes. Working on his salvation a little bit, but I want to welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast, Ian
Juvenile.
Dude, I knew I was going to mess it up, dude.
It's all good, no worries.
I was practicing in my head the whole time.
Like Govern Ali.
Okay, because you were laughing about that because people call you
Governal.
Governal.
Yeah,
but it's
all the time. My poor kids, my boys, they have the same. It's Governal all the time. Like, get used to it.
Yeah, get used to it.
For the rest of your life.
Right? Move a little closer. Yeah, that's cool. If you want to lean back, you could just move the mic right there. That's
okay, cool.
Yeah, that's perfect. Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming through, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Ian Juvenile.
Yes.
So, okay, you know what's the trip is I seen a friend of mine sent me a video that you're in, and it was the Lesio, right?
DLSio. Yeah.
DLSio. They make the leather. What do you guys call
the leather shields, the leather helmets,
Yeah, for firefighters.
Yes, they actually make a lot of stuff, like the axe scabbards.
Yeah, there's a lot of leather goods and all that
stuff,
stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, my friend sent it to me, and it was sitting in my inbox for a while, and I go, oh, I'll check it out when I get a chance.
Yeah.
And I sat on it for a little bit, and then it had to be like maybe a week after the video came out, and I was like, oh, yeah, Eddie sent me that video. So I went back, I looked at it, and then I was like, hey, this guy seems pretty interesting, man.
Yeah, definitely got a different story.
So I was like, I hit up, the leather company, and I was like, hey man, I thought you worked for them, or I thought it was your company at first. And so I was like, hey, I would like to get you on the show. And then they were like, oh no, I talked to him. Here's his number. He said you can give him a call.
Yeah, I don't have any social media, so that they make our leather helmets, and I teach on the fire control, the live fire cadre.
Yeah.
So they have to. What we use is those leather helmets, are the composite helmets. But the leather ones are the ones that's how we know them. We have a really good relationship with them. So I was actually teaching in Finland, and one of the other people associated with the company started taking pictures, kind of wondering my story. And that's kind of where we took off from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever told your story?
No, you know what? I have in treatment for my PTSD.
Yeah.
In the fire service. And people were like, whoa, like, you need to write a book, And I'm like, for me, it's so weird to get recognition because I think I'm just like everybody else. I'm a normal person, like I don't need, but it's cool to see the change. People are, it's helping people in a good way.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I was, okay. So my thing is I know a lot of firefighters. A lot of firefighters look pretty clean cut.
Yeah.
Right. And there's not a lot of firefighters that look like, I remember one time when I was younger, I was trying to get into LAFD and I would deliver their towels. Right. And there was one firefighter, and he was like sleeved. He had a bunch of portraits all over his arms. So I was like, "Bro, what's the deal?" He's like, "Oh, I kind of slid through a little bit, And I was like, and then I know there's some departments that don't allow any visible
Yes.
tattoos, right?
They'll even do like a swim test.
Crazy.
I'm just saying, you know, to see what's on there. I thought about you going just for fun, you know.
But so when I saw you, I was like, dang, like, how did that happen?
It's a trip. I've been a fire captain for 4 years. I've been in the fire service for 23 years. With the department I'm with now, 18 and a half years.
Wow.
And I go to calls and people still are like, they hired you? And I'm like, well yeah, I'm here in uniform, you know, like, I hope they hired me. I hope I get paid, you know.
Were you as tatted back then as you are
No.
now?
So I'll kind of go over my beginnings as far as like the tattoo scene.
Yeah.
So growing up in the lifestyle I did in LA County, Pasadena, Altadena, San Gabriel Valley, all that area. When I was young, you know, I was one of the only Caucasian kids in my school, like at that time. When I was in the fifth grade, maybe fifth or sixth, my skateboard got stolen from a guy. So his my buddy's like, hey, my brother can get it back for you. So his brother came to my house the next day. You know, we're kids. We're like little kids, you know, BMX together. His brother pulls up in the Primer Regal, you know, 13-inch under spokes, white beater, the 3 flowers. You know, I still have 3 flowers just for that smell. You know, it brings me back to that,
right,
to my childhood. And yeah, it was we go to that guy's house and he pulls out a 9mm, hands me a machete, and long story short, we got my skateboard back.
Dang.
And I was getting tattooed by him the next week in his garage, and it was. I right away took to that because of the upbringing I had with my parents. So my dad being abusive, my mom divorced him too. He was abusive to me, I guess, as a kid because he was threatened from a male. I don't understand that part. And he would put like animals in the dryer, like crazy just stuff, you know. So growing up with that, like, I started just kind of, I didn't have that person there for me, you know. I didn't have that male figure, and I was trying to find it so bad, you know. And I kept putting faith in him. He'll come here to say pick me up, and I sit out there after school till like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. And my mom's like, he's not coming up. I'm like, no, he's good. Like I'm gonna stay. He recently just passed a couple months ago, so it's kind of a bittersweet. Like it's just, you know,
yeah,
a lot of stuff that kind of put away. But yeah, that's how. So I was kind of looking for that belonging, you know, and being a part of. Right. And when I saw that this dude took me in like that, I was like, okay. Like, and my mom, we didn't go to church. I wasn't raised around when I was a kid around that stuff. Like my mom was, she was you know, she did everything she could for us, and I'll never talk down on my mother. But it was just hard for her growing up, like, because her parents died when she was 18, and then my dad's parents died. Well, his father died when he was 13. He was picking him up from juvenile hall.
Wow.
He died on the stair steps. So like, my mom wasn't really affectionate with me, you know? So I kind of like self-soothed as a child. Yeah. I kind of found my own ways to do that.
Yeah.
Coming from like an abusive parent, you know, father. Yeah, and it was kind of, I just got absorbed into it, you know? And it just became a lifestyle after that.
That gang culture sucked you in.
Yep. And then the tattooing, it just, man, by the time I was 18, I mean, I had my neck, my head, my face, across my stomach, my back, my arms, all homemade machine for the most part. We had a spot in Glendale we used to go to. The homeboys out there off of I think Glendale Galleria, they would tattoo us, like, you know, like underage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was covered when I got out. Is when I got them all lasered off. Wow. So when I spent 4 years lasering them off. And what happened then is when I started getting sunburned, my skin, because I'm light complected, like I held my past from people just because I knew I'd be judged, you know?
Yeah.
And I grew up my whole life being judged and being wrong and being wrong and being wrong, you know? Yeah. That I just wouldn't tell anybody. So people started noticing when I would get sunburned, you know, because I'm lightly complected. We don't white Caucasian, but it would come out. You would see the scars. So they're like, "What is that?" You know, and I'm like, ugh. And then I started getting a few tattoos once I got in the fire service, but for the most part, I didn't have any that were that visible.
But how do you get hired?
So I didn't have them that they were invisible. When I got out,
even the head.
Yeah, when I got there were some pieces, but I grew my hair out. There was like little chunks left, you know, of ink here and there. But when I got out, I was out in Pasadena, that area. And just started getting in trouble like that next week. You know, I felt like I wasn't even in there. Yeah. So I had, my mom basically told me, hey, go stay with your sister. She was going to school in Santa Barbara. So there was a huge change for me going up there. And I'm like, whoa. But she's like, hey, don't come back. So I'm like, what am I going to do? You know, like I've never had a job. Like, I don't know anything. I don't even have a driver's license. You know, as a juvenile, I had 46, 47 misdemeanors, and I finally caught a strike. Wow. So luckily, here's a good part, though. My record was juvenile, so it's sealed, you know. Yeah. So that was my blessing right there. Is I thank God that I didn't keep progressing, because at that time, like, you know, it became a normalization to go to juvenile hall, to go in there. You know, I I want to go to Folsom. I want to go to like all these guys. You know, I want to be up. Like I want to be the one. You know.
So you're in the fire service. You've been there 18 years in this department.
18 and a half,
23 years overall.
Yes.
I mean, let's go back. I know you're telling almost the whole story in 2 minutes here, but
the tattoos, there's just so much behind it.
Yeah.
It's so many layers. You know
yeah. So
trip.
I was just trying to get to, because when you first look at you, like that was my first impression. Like I'm like, how did this dude get hired for the fire service? I'm familiar with a lot of firefighters. Cam trying to be a fire inspector.
There's no policy, but they don't like it. And I know that.
So did you get lucky?
Kind of, yeah.
Like you got?
Because I got in so young, and it's right when I got all my tattoos lasered off, you couldn't see much. Yeah. And then as I started going throughout my career, I started hitting some bad times in my life, and I kind of went back to the only thing I knew, which was that streets, tattoo. Like it was hard for me to identify like who I belong with. You know what I mean? Do I belong over here or over here? And that was the hard part, because like I still got love. These are my people. You know what I mean? But these are my people too. So like So I had to find that balance, you know.
Yeah.
But I did get my it's a trip. I got my neck and my head lasered off, tattooed, and then I got it blacked out on my neck over, just because it was all faded. People are like real curious, like, hey, what's under there? Like,
I've never seen a blacked out neck. I mean, it's rare.
It goes all the way down to. It's funny because people on that post were putting that, like, it looks like a Nomex hood, like that we wear on fires. Right. It does. When I take my shirt off, I'm like, oh yeah, it actually does. So I'm like,
you constantly, it's a permanent shiesty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Trying to check the Chiefs. So I'm going inside a structure fire. They think I have my hood on.
So you grew up in Altadena,
Pasadena, like San Gabriel Valley.
San Gabriel Valley area. Mm-hmm. It's so funny because a lot of people think that's not a tough area.
And you go Fair Oaks,
right.
Washington, Woodbury.
You start going north of the 210, and
Kings Manners.
You think north of the 210 is nice because the mountains are there, and there are some scattered places. But you start going a little bit north, it's not as like ideal as you think it is, right?
And back in the 90s, especially.
Yeah,
you got to remember that I got there. They have that like outdoor mall, and it wasn't like that back then.
Yeah,
it was dirty.
Yeah.
And but every city, I found out that every city has that. If you're looking for trouble, it's there. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just finds you. At that time, it found me, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah. Who were you as a kid?
That was hard for me, man. Yeah. I kind of hid my talents, because of the streets, because of who I had to become. I had to I didn't cry as a kid. Like I would put as a teenager, like I just put it all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as a kid, like I started playing hockey like when I was real young, and then obviously that ended quick. Skateboarding, stuff like that. I loved art. And then I started getting into kind of graffiti art, and then that just took me down a whole nother path of just.
There's always a point where I think stuff. like kids are kids, right? And they're kids. They like art. They like playing. They go outside, and then they get to a point where, for whatever reason, maybe it is abuse, or maybe it's an experience. Maybe it's just something that draws them in or draws them out, whatever it may be. What age was that for you where you can think like, I had to stop being a kid?
Like 11. Yeah, 11 or 12. Yeah.
I mean, that's young.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when I started. This was my first tattoo. I look at my kid now, my son, my oldest. I have two boys, 11 and 8. And my 11-year-old, I'm like, what was I thinking? I look at him, I'm like, dude, he's a baby still to me. Like his skin, I'm like, man, what was I? And I thought that was normal. Just like I thought, hey, every girl in high school, because I went to continuation for like a week. They had kids, because there was a daycare there. You know what I mean? That was just the normalization of what we grew up in, that people like that grew up in, Yeah.
And you came from an abusive family.
Not family. My dad was. My mom, she was good about leaving it when she started seeing it.
Yeah.
When I was 2, but the problem is he would still we were still kind of in his life here and there. So it kind of carried on until I was about probably that age, like 8 or 9, where he fully just disappeared,
Yeah.
And his history, like I said, he had PTSD from when his dad passed away. Like he never dealt with that. He thought it was his fault because he was picking him up that day in juvenile hall, and died on the steps of the juvenile hall. So
wow,
he's had to live with that, And I've tried to rebuild that relationship over the years, and it just, it is what it is. I had to accept it, and I kept my kids protected for a reason. I kept them away from him, and maybe I shouldn't have, but at that time, that seemed like the most.
Did he pass as like a bitter man and didn't want to make it right with you no matter what? I mean, were you hoping to make it right?
I wanted to make, yeah.
And he didn't want to make it right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would try, and then he would fall back into his, whether it was a drugs thing or, hey, you think so, you're hot this, you think you're a firefighter, like, just put me down, like, man, I work so hard where I get where I'm
even
at.
as a grown man?
Yeah, like, this is like, a couple years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was rough. It was rough going to family events, and that's the only family I really had. I had my mom, and then I had my dad's side. My mom's side is just my mom. So my dad's side, and I had my sister. And my dad's side, we have a bigger family on Garden Grove, Covina, used to that area. So it was hard not going to family events, secluding myself, because of that, because to keep myself away from him,
Yeah.
to like protect myself, I guess, or my kids.
How deep does it run in you still to this day, man? Because it looks like
it bugs me.
It
bugs.
Yeah,
it does. It as much as because he recently passed, and like, man, as much as I love him, like I would never want, you know what I mean? Nobody would wish that upon anybody, right? Like, so I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot of just everything changed right when that happened. Like in a good way. I feel like that chapter's closed. Like I could rebuild my name, the name in my family.
Yeah.
As a man, because he was kind of that holding it back, or seemed kind of like, just not where we should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It must be hard to not have like a true closure with him, or at least make some peace.
Yeah, and
I mean, I'm not saying that you would never be bothered by everything prior to that, but if the door is closing, at least it's like, okay, maybe he could have gave you a word or something you can just grasp or something. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. See, and that was just never one of those things. He would have his breakdown moments, when his health was bad, that kind of thing. Like, just like when guys go to jail, like, religion becomes a thing, right? Like, so that's one of those things that, I tried and tried. And it does suck. That's what hurts still, I think, is because there was no closure. You know what I mean? In the day, I was actually at work the day he passed. And I guess he was walking around the block out there in Azusa or Covina, and had passed. And the guys worked him for like 40 minutes, called him. And his body just sat there. I didn't know. I had left work, but I would have went straight over there and been with him. And that kind of sucks. Like, he's here alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That killed me.
Yeah.
And then it was weird because, like, after that, at work, it was a cardiac arrest every day up until I got off a day ago. Like, we're still getting the cardiac arrest. So it's like
reliving it.
Yeah. As much as I try to, like, okay, let me just do my job. I'm the captain. I got to hold it off for my crew. My medic's doing his thing. Ambulance is here. They're doing their thing. Okay, cool. I have to, like, just put it aside, and I learned how to do that early on in this career too, like putting the emotion aside. I think that comes from survival as the environment I was in. I had to put myself to just, you know what I mean?
I always wonder about that, because there is, I know you mentioned PTSD and we can get into that, but if you come from a culture of violence, gangs and different things, and then you're in the hood, they call the firefighters to come pick up somebody that was beat up, shot, stabbed, whatever it may be. And then now you get to the other side, and you're the guy coming for those things.
Yep.
I mean, so you kind of have to, I always wonder, like my buddies are gang members, and it's crazy because for a long time they didn't identify PTSD in their life. It was just like, keep going.
Yep. This is normal.
This is life.
Yeah. It is what it is. And if you don't like it, oh well, like, this is what you're in.
And then I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching this Marine documentary, and they were talking to soldiers and stuff. And I was thinking, not that it compares to the street, but some of the stuff some street people have seen while gangbanging and different things, it's comparable.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, we never talk about the PTSD on that side, but you're experiencing from, I'm sure showing up at an accident scene and seeing somebody that's passed, or seeing somebody that's mutilated. And now you're like, how do you balance that?
So like,
do you not, because
I don't know how I don't know. Like, I'm so used to it. I think it's just, I'm programmed. And I think because I've seen some really bad stuff early on, that, like, I still see bad stuff and it sucks. But, like, what I went through early on, with my friends dying on fire, and I was one of the rescuers, like that after that, like, I can go on anything. But
your friend died in a fire?
5 of them, yeah, they died on a fire.
And you were one of the
Yeah,
guys to show up?
Yeah, we were next door.
What happened to that?
So that was I used to work started off with the United States Forest Service in early 2000. In 2006, I was stationed in Cabazon for the United States Forest Service, and there was that Esperanza fire, the 5 firefighters that died. Yeah, so oiler was arsonist. Those are my buddies.
Wow.
Yeah, so while we were doing structural defense, we were at the house next door protecting it, and that happened, and our captain walked over, found him, we went over, and I treated one of the younger guys, the captain, and I had to put out one of the other guy's body. He was 19. So that was like putting him out. I'm like, and I was just with him the 2 days before, you know, and I remember just being like, man, like it was so real, it was fake. You know what I mean? Like, and at that moment, like I was forgetting guys' names that I work with. Like it just, I don't know what it was doing to my brain. And, you know, on top of that, I hadn't slept because we're on the fire all night. I hadn't eaten. So a lot of that, you know, all kicks in, start hallucinating kind of, you know.
Yeah.
But man, I was like, what? I remember after just being like, what just happened? You know, and I'm like, dude, and then I remember thinking like, man, I wish I had died with them. Like I went through all those survivor's guilt, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was rough. And I went down the drain. I kind of packed it away for a lot of years and then had a call that brought everything back up. And yeah, that's when I started getting a lot of tattoos. I was off for 2 months and pretty much if I was wearing long sleeve, you wouldn't see nothing. So at that time, I did all that in 2 months while I was off. Like I was bad. I was in a bad position. I was angry, you know, I didn't know. Back then, they didn't have that treatment for us.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, hey, best thing for you guys to do is just to re-engage. So, of course, being us, you know, and I come from that old school generation where the captain's like, hey, man, you know, like in the morning comes in, you don't say good morning, you know, you don't, it's one of those kind of guys.
Right.
Which I'm the opposite of, but so it was your emotions. You just pack it away. It's literally just like a gang or just survival of the fittest. You know what I mean? It really comes down to that it's that, yeah, you're exposed to a lot of stuff. And then about 3 years ago, I got burned in a structure fire doing a rescue. I fell through the floor because some tweakers were cooking meth under the subfloor. We didn't know. And, yeah, I fell through. So I got second and third around my whole ankle, my whole foot, my head right here. That's why it's bald right here. Yeah, a bunch of places, my wrist, but it was all bad. I was out for a year for that one. So just being, and, you know, like back to the question, like, how do I deal with people's, like, seeing that stuff? I don't think there's ever, like, a moment or ever a time when I'm like, oh, this is normal. Like none of it's ever normal. Like I'm an empath, right? So like I feel what you feel, what everybody else feels. I'm that type. I don't know. That's just how I am. But like I feel for them. You know what I mean?
It seems like this would, like gang banging and this career,
they go hand in hand.
And,
for me,
and going to, you know, youth authority all those years, it would seem like it probably wouldn't be a good fit for you,
right? I know
being that way.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
well, here's the thing: is like I was. Yes, at one time taking direction, taking orders, you know, but I was used to that because I was programming. You know what I mean? I was in juvenile the boot camp.
It was easier to do it because somebody was telling you what to do.
Yeah, like when I transitioned, I'm like, oh man, like at the station, I'm yelling at dudes like, hey, make your bed to hospital corners. You know, I better bounce a quarter off that. Like that's how it was for me, and that's all I knew. So for me coming in, they're like, hey, you need to fold your stuff. Like, no, absolutely. You know, it was so easy to transition into that.
Yeah.
The hard part was associating myself with the people around me, you know, because everybody's story, you know, you hear, why do you want to become a firefighter? Oh, when I was little, you know, I fell in a fire truck, gave me a Band-Aid, yada, yada, or their parents or whatever. That definitely wasn't me. You know what I mean? I came from that juvenile fire camp, and it was actually right over here in Laverne. You know, I realized years later, like after I got out, like, man, that's the one thing I enjoyed. Like I was good at it. Like I finally found something I was good at, you know, I'm pretty sure I was good at things before, but it was never like, you know, I had captains that were like, hey, good job, you know, and that I think that's what it was. It's just having that male figure or just somebody telling you, hey, good job. Yeah. So you know, because you don't know. Like, I tell the guys now, I got to stop sometimes because I'm so busy. As hey, man, good job, guys, you know, after a call.
It goes a long way.
It goes a long way. It does. It's a respect thing. And you got to be humble when you're wrong, you know, or you got to admit it, you know, and that's how you build that rapport with people.
Right.
You know?
So if we go back a little bit, you start getting in trouble, 10, 11 years old, you gravitate towards the streets. What was the appeal? Just a belonging?
A belonging. Yeah. And you know, at that time I was like, I think from my friend's brother doing that, I think that made me see that, hey, I'd rather be feared than loved. Like I'd rather have these dudes like, hey, you know, I think we all think like we're all trying to get a name.
Yeah. And
it's hard at that age in that juvenile system because it ain't about race up in there. You know, it's straight gangbanging. Like it's especially when you hit Eastlake. I was in Eastlake. You go in there to the gym, like it's on and cracking. Like
you're a white guy, and let me get this straight. You're in a Mexican gang.
Associate of a
Mexican gang. And so when you go,
So I turn up. You know what I mean? Like I can turn up quick. Yeah.
so when you go, even in juvenile hall back in those days, young gladiator school, right?
Yep.
So who are you associating with in there?
With the Southerners.
We are in there
Yeah.
with Hispanic gang. So that in itself is a whole issue.
But I grew up in that culture, so it was like normal for me.
That's what you associate.
Because I
That's
remember
what
at
you
the
know.
time, like YA at the time, I remember there was always this like legend of the dude who ran it that was for the Southerners. And he was a black guy, African American from Monrovia, right? And that was always like, hey, yeah. And I was like, what? No way. You know, we were all tripping out. And I'm like, but here I am, white, you know? But
I was tripping out on that
God,
too
yeah.
because I was watching a video the other day, and it was about this Japanese guy that was from the mafia, right? And then you talk, you the main leader, Joe Morgan,
He's
wasn't
not
Hispanic
Utah.
either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, I never
There you go,
associated all that together. And then I'm like, oh, there was some people in the comments that were making a joke like the main leaders are never Hispanic dudes, but I thought it was funny. But I was like, but I think it was just the culture of Southern California is mixed like
It
that.
is. Yeah, it's just so diverse.
Yeah.
You know, especially in LA. LA
Yeah.
County, like 100%. And it's just what you grow up around, you know?
Exactly.
And it's hard to, because here's the thing, even if you get in trouble and say you're not affiliated and you go in there, they're going to be like, you're basically labeled with whoever you're around, you know,
Yeah.
whoever you run with on the streets,
Right.
like in that neighborhood, we're going to assume that you're a part of that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? If you try saying you're not, well, you are.
Yeah.
And when I first went in, I was just in the normal white shirt, you know, GTA, that kind of stuff, with the khakis. They used to give us like gray or blue or whatever.
Is that what you
color.
went to jail for?
No, that's
Oh, okay.
what we wore in
Okay,
there.
Got you.
That was my first term. We wore it in there, but when my second term when I went in there, it was for assault with a deadly weapon, 211 strong arm robbery, and they put me in orange, the double orange and M&N. So
And how old were you then?
15. I remember going in there. I remember the first time I went in there, I remember being like, dang, those dudes, man, I'll never go there. You know, like they would come out, they wouldn't even go to the school. Like they would come out, run, and run right back in the unit, and then you don't see them for the whole day. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, that sucks. Like, oh, that's rough for those guys. And I'm like, no way. You know, 2 years later, boom, here I am. You know, and I'm like, no, and I'm fighting for my life at this point because it was.
Does anybody care that you're going to jail?
It's hurt my mom.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say care. Like she's just doesn't know what to do. You know, poor woman. Like she don't know. You know,
Yeah.
and she's
trying to just.
she worked at the
raise you.
post office. Yeah, and she had to start working graveyard to pick me up from juvenile hall in the day. So she got so used to it that she had to switch her schedule.
Wow.
And I was just off the chain. Like I just did not care. I was just angry. I was angry and I was hurt. And it would, you know, we all know behind anger and all that stuff, it's just hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it all came down to, you know, there's always a root of the problem, and it came down to my dad. You know?
Yeah. That's the anger that drove you.
Yeah. Where I was kind of like, I was scared of myself sometimes. You know what I mean? Because when I get in a certain way, like I go full.
I think people that come, you know, from a mom and dad home, maybe even if it's not the greatest, or a good home, I don't think they really fully understand somebody like yourself.
Yeah.
When you have that much anger in you and hurt, right? The hurt turns to anger. I don't think they understand that as
No, they
much,
don't.
right?
They don't.
They
see it.
think like, why is this kid being bad? He should just go to school,
Yep.
be a good kid.
Well, they're like, well, you had the chance to go to school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, statistically, 80% at the time was to do bad, to survive. So once you're in that position and you're in those shoes, come holler at me. Let me know what you think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How easy it is to go to school every day. I remember going to school, getting off the bus, and I would have to fight with one of the blood gangs out there every day. And I wasn't even associated then. They would just pick on me, and it became so routine when I got off the bus, I would have to fight. So I became angry, man. I started getting angry at these people too, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and because I was white, you know, Caucasian, it was just, it was different. It was different, definitely. I had to definitely do a lot more, you know, and I think growing up, it was easy to get in this job too, because growing up, I'm like, oh man, I would have died for this street, you know what I mean? But now I'm like, hey, this is even a better reason to die, like to do good, you know? So it's a trip that, you know, I'm still crazy too, but just in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, just know if you're trapped in here and your house is on fire, you know, I'm gonna be getting in there. If I die with you, I'm coming in with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna get you regardless if we're in it. You know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at my job now. Yeah.
Man.
And how my life, you know, how much it changed.
You know, we talked on the phone before you came when we met, and we had a good conversation. And what you talked about with me is how long you were in juvenile hall, and how bad it is in there for a young person.
Yeah.
And especially a young person that doesn't have nothing to look forward to if they get out. right? What is it like? Well, what was it like in juvenile hall? I mean, from what I understand, it hasn't really changed.
Yeah, see, it changed for the worse, I believe. And I don't care what anybody says, man. They talk about Department of Rehabilitation, all that stuff.
Yeah, just because they added rehabilitation to the name doesn't mean.
So, and the thing is,
better.
like back then, that movie Gridiron came out, Gridiron Gang with The Rock exhibit, and it was a sports camp. Those were the programs they had. Because when I went to fire camp, my homeboy, they woke us up at 4 a.m. and they're like, "Hey, we're at CMYC in Lancaster, Challenger." They're like, "Hey, you're going to Cleopatra sports camp?" And they're like, "Governor, you're going to fire camp." I'm like, "What? He's gonna go play football, and I got to go cut line on a fire?" You know what I mean? I'm like, "Wait, hold up, time out." But they got rid of those programs.
Yeah.
And and it sucks that there wasn't more success stories, because I truly feel that they would still have those programs if there was. And I remember, the saddest thing too, I was thinking about this other day, that I remember being in there and like one of the homeboys would leave, or somebody that you became really close with, and you left, right? And a week later, the staff comes in like, "Hey, he died. He got killed yesterday." All the time, every week. And I remember just like, so I thought like, honestly thought I was going to be dead before I was 18. Like, I don't know why. Wow. I just thought the amount of stuff I was getting into, fights, getting stabbed, like a lot of stuff happened,
Yeah. And I think the normal person doesn't understand. They don't understand. The odds are super stacked against you, right? Yeah. When you're that young, you don't have anybody looking out for you on the outside. You don't have no direction. Now you're just like, and is it true that maybe you want to go back so you can at least have a type of purpose or a type of direction, or somebody like helping you to stay in line a little bit? Or why did you want to go back every time?
Go back to juvenile?
Yeah.
Because that was my life at the time. I didn't care about, women. I didn't care about, like, my gang was like my career, my job, and I like being good at what I do. So, I put in, just like I tell people, hey man, as much work as I put on the streets, like I do the same in the fire service at work, and I'm a strong believer in that. Yeah.
That's just in you.
Yep. It's just in me. Yeah.
How long did you were in juvenile?
It's around 4 years. Yep.
And you're just
in all the camp programs. Cause towards the end I was done. I was tired, like at fire camp, I was like, and the cool thing about fire camp is we became, all that gang stuff kind of got dropped, like put aside. And it was like, hey, we're crew 4. You know what I mean? Like we're 17-1, we're 17-2, whatever crew you're on. And that was the gang then. You know what I mean? So it was cool to see that, and like we would check each other when we had to. But other than that, like when you first go in there, like, hey, we're going to jump you in. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like I would tell them, hey, do it. I'm picking one of you and you're getting rocked. Like I guarantee it. I'm not going to be able to hit all of you. I'm going to get one though. For sure. And they didn't. But we would do stupid stuff. We jump dudes in, and then, the captain would come like, what the? Because we break a window. And we're like, oh, he slipped on a banana peel. Guys putting powder Gatorade in the chainsaws, other crews, like competitiveness. But that, is all bad, like not good,
Did you like it right away?
Once I saw that I could hike, because I remember the hike, you have to do this. You're a trainee for like, I think a week or 2 weeks, and then you move over to the fireside. So as a trainee, you go hiking, and I remember like starting off at the end of the hike, and I didn't even know how I was going to do. And I was like, whoa, like I was ahead of all these dudes. But I had already been to boot camp. I'm already programming in there every day. Like, and they had us doing some crazy stuff in boot camp because it's ran by all. I think a lot of those guys were veterans, So it was no joke back then. Like you're getting thrown off that Bluebird, off that bus, and it was on and cracking once you got in there.
Did your aspirations of being a member of a prison gang go away once you got to the fire camp?
Yeah.
Or did it take a little while?
No, in the beginning it did, because it was hard for me to change fully. It was hard for me to like fully break away from it. You know what I mean? Like I was active, but not like active, like not looking for it. You know what I mean? But at that time there was 2 guys there from a Green Line gang at the time. Well, they got a 3rd member in that day, and he was popping off. Those 2, I had been with those 2 for that whole term, like different places. And we already, we were like, hey, just keep to yourselves. Like you already got the beat down so many times. You know what I mean? Like it's just done. And then, homeboy came, and we started a full-on riot. And I mean, LA County SWAT had to show up. We chained the doors shut. Like it was on and cracking. But I was like, I'm just done. I'm done. Like this life. And I was too comfortable in there, where I was scared to get out. Where I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I think that's one of the issues, right?
Yeah, because you go right back. People don't realize that. Like, yeah, you go do all this time at a place that doesn't really rehabilitate you, right? So, like, especially in the juvenile system, the most important years of a child's brain development, all that, right? Forget it doing anything in there, and then you just go right on, and it's just again and again, repetitive.
Did you experience anything in life before you went and spent all those years? Did you drive? Did you
No, I didn't get prom.
go on dates?
No.
Any of that
Not
stuff?
even my graduation. At least I had a graduation, right? But it was my diploma says like LA County schools or whatever, you know. And then my mom got me like a ring, like a class ring, but it just says Pasadena, like 2001 or whatever. I graduated, you know. When I got out though, it was a trip because I went to this. They had when you get out, they call it furlough, like you got out 30 days early.
Yeah.
And they sent me to school. I already had my credits for school. I was already done, right? But they lost all my credits, so I had to go like this lockdown school. And I remember as I was changing, transitioning at that time, my PO, I was like, "Hey, I'm moving to Santa Barbara," and she's like, "You're gonna be wearing like flip flops and sandals, like surfer." I'm like, never. I'll never wear clothes like that, like fitted clothes, you know, like I am now. Here I am. Yeah, man, it feels good. It feels good though to be on that other side, you know, and it feels good to give back.
Yeah.
And to reach people and to reach out, you know, to see that there's hope and there is light, and I'm here to be the voice for that. You know what I mean? For those guys. For
Right.
sure.
I think that's big because I wish we had more stories like yours, that somebody that survived, or maybe this program works, or maybe they don't have it anymore, but something that would give them some sort of outlet. Maybe you don't save, you know, what did you say? The statistics are only 95% are not going to make it or something like that.
Yeah, ridiculous.
You know, it's wild, but I mean, even if we saved another 5 to 10%, maybe make that percentage go down to like the 80s or something.
Yeah.
That's a lot of guys that you can change their life and, you know, kind of break a curse.
Yeah.
And that's maybe been generational, like in your family.
A lot of guys too, they just don't think that there's anything out there for them, you know?
Yeah.
That nobody's gonna hire them, nobody would do this. Like, we have adult inmates, and I talk to those dudes every time I'm on fire with them, I talk to them. You know, because no matter what, there's always, and it was the hardest thing was like when I did transition and change, like I had to cut off my whole childhood, right? All my friends, everything. People don't understand that. My ex-wife, she would say all the time, you know, hey, just, you know, no friends, you know? Yeah, I don't. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the hard part, right?
Yeah.
It's just, if you're filling the pool again, you have to stop having some
You have
friends.
to.
I work with a few guys. I'm in construction, and there's guys there that they have some wild stories. Some of them
I bet.
were in prison. Were in prison for a long time. Some of them were gangbanging, different stuff, and they say the same thing. It's like, you know what? I didn't want to live that life no more. I love those guys. We were friends at one time, but they're still out there. And I can't associate with them because either it's going to send me back or I'm going to get caught up in something that
They did. I don't know how many times I got caught up because of my friends growing up.
Yeah.
I remember like the cops driving by and they throw like a tree limb at the car. I'm like, dude, really? Like, well, yeah, just crazy stuff. Yeah.
It's so funny because we laugh when we're kids, like when they tell us, hey, you are who you hang with, and when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I do my own thing, but
Yep.
it is true,
Yeah, 100%.
right?
Yep.
Man.
Yeah.
So you're in fire camp. You get how long were you in fire camp? And
In that camp, a little over a year.
then
I get out from there. I get a court release from there.
and you're thinking, maybe I can do this?
No.
No.
I'm like, I don't ever want to do this again. Like cut line. Like it's hard work, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I don't want to do this, you know?
So it wasn't like you got this inspiration and then you just said, when I get out, I'm going to try to be in the fire.
No,
service.
so like how that came about is I ended up in Santa Barbara and I started dating this girl where her family moved down to Beaumont. When I was up there working though, I worked at a movie theater, Nordstrom's in Santa Barbara downtown, and then I worked in the graveyard. I worked at a pornography shop because I had to make the ends meet. I was on my own. I was just riding my bike to work. Like I had to pay like $6,000 to get my license. You know, like just stuff that everything was against me, and I'm like, man, I hate my life. Like I remember those couple years I was up there, like I felt like I hadn't slept. You know, I'm like in this little studio. It was all bad, man. It was so rough, and I'm trying to figure out who I am. You know, like where do I fall in place? Like what am I gonna do for a career? Like I don't have any education. You know, in the juvenile system, I think it was like, I remember doing the same math equation form for the year I was there, you know, like in different places, like it's just because it's at a 6th grade level because of different ages. So I'm like thinking I'm dumb, you know, like it was all against me. And then
when it comes to math, bro, we're all dumb.
Yeah, I know,
You know what I
right?
mean?
Yeah.
Just
If you know math good, then you're dumb.
Math has been the Achilles heel in our family for sure. we know how to read a tape measure. We know plus minus and some percentages.
There you go.
But everything else is like,
that was a challenge for me when I promoted to engineer as a driver.
Right.
Because we do all the pumping. I'm like, oh, what? Like, I got to write all this here. I got to like do a coefficient, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm like, you need to have pictures. Like I need to have like with the crayon, you need to draw it out. Like,
Wow.
and that's how it is. But I busted my back to get in that, to change myself, to prove that, and then once I got into the job, like I was so honored to have this chance that I gave it 100, and everybody that knows me works.
Well, how did you get into the?
So when we moved, my ex-girlfriend, her family moved to Beaumont. They were living in Goleta, like north of Santa Barbara, a little city up there. Moved down here. We were coming to visit them. And then they're like, you guys should just come down here. So we just came there, stayed at their house in Beaumont, and I got a job at the outlets. And then I kept seeing billboards for Crafting Hills Firefighter Academy. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I might look into that. And some of the people that were the closest to me on time, like family, they were like, I don't think you can make it. So there was nobody right there like, hey, you got this, like 100%. I never had that. So I would just find my own ways to compensate for that, whatever it was, yeah, but that's how I just pushed as hard as I could to get where I'm at, and within the job too, because I felt like I had to. Even to this day, I still do. I'll be out there polishing diamond plate, because I feel like our training with the guys, taking them doing, drilling, spot drill, stuff like that, just because, because if I say something, that I expect them to do it, I'm going to lead by example, and yeah, I love it. I love what I do, man.
So you just went to the academy, and
I went to the academy, and I got hired with the Forest Service. I had all my tattoos lasered off before I came down here, and I was still going to a place, because the place I found was in Santa Barbara. When I moved up there, they had the tattoo program, and you do community service, and it was through a church, and it was like a dermatologist doing the lasering that actually, he got in trouble like at a derm office, so he had to do this as like community service. It was a trip. And it was rough, man. Like the cream you put on, like I was getting my neck and head and face done at the same time. And the cream just wasn't doing it. So I'm like, can you inject it? One of the nurses came in, and when she went into my head, it popped out the other side, because I remember squirting on my back, and I'm like, what was that?
Whoa.
I'm like, this is crazy. She's like, oh my gosh, And
the early years of tattoo removal.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah. And then, people were like, whoa, you just go, it was painful. That was another part, like, and once I closed that off, though, I closed it off, like pictures, everything, people ask me like, you got anything from before? I'm like, no. Just in here, there's a slideshow, but that was part of my closure with that.
Wow.
Was just cutting it all off.
It seemed like you had a lot of chapters in your life.
I do, yeah. It's weird, because I feel like I've almost had another life.
Right.
I've done so much as a kid, like, where I had to be an adult early, which sucked, yeah, I feel like it's been since I was born, that it's been struggle after struggle.
Do you feel like your life's just been a constant fight?
I
one
did.
way or another?
I did, because I kept asking God, like, hey, because I remember being in Juvenile Hall praying, like, and then I'm not getting any kind of signs, no answer, And we would go to church, but just to see the homeboys, I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, we were going we would go there to see the homeboys. That's how that's how you talk to people and stuff if they're in different units. But you're talking about the religion part?
No, the different chapters of
The
your
chapters.
life. And how, and you said you started praying a little bit, asking.
Yeah,
God.
so like after all that stuff kept happening, and I got into this job, right, and like here I am dealing with my friends dying, and I'm like, man, I changed my life for the better, and here I am, I couldn't understand it. Like, why does this keep happening? Like, why did Danny die, who's 19? Why did this happen? Like, I just could not understand it. I couldn't process it.
Yeah.
And
having a little bit of like, what is it, survivor's remorse? Like, why did they die?
Survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I had survivor's guilt. Yeah, and I was at one point when I was off getting treatment, I was going to commit suicide. Like, they couldn't find anybody. One place they were showing me a burned body every day, and I'm like, I can't do that. Like,
wow.
I'm like, that desensitized me. Like, I'm already desensitized enough, like I'm good. I don't need any more.
Yeah.
But yeah, those chapters, like, it's just weird, man. Just closing them off, and it just seems like, man. And I finally realized, like, after all of them, that hey, this is God's plan. He did this to me for a reason, to put me here, to be right here with you today, right? Like, everything happens for a reason. I never thought I'd be on a podcast or, on social media. I don't even look up social media. Like, so it's weird to see all that stuff, Yeah. But I know this is my purpose. And I saw what it did to people who were like, hey, this is all I needed. Like, I needed this today. I was like, man, that's crazy. Like, you know what? That's what I needed when I was young. I needed somebody like that. You know what I mean? So why not let me be that person and do what I can now? If I can quit the fire service altogether and go do mentorship, I would. I've done enough firefighting in my life. Almost died, I don't know how many times. My health isn't the best because of it. I'm sick right now, but I do have like pre-respiratory disease, as if I was a smoker because of some of the stuff I've been in on fires.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's been but I feel good. I had back surgery. I've been back a year now for my back surgery. It's just been crazy. But
From an injury on the job?
yeah. So I got burned I was out for a year, came back for a year, went out because of my back, and then came back, and here I am. So, but I'm good now. I'm better in my back, and I still go full force. That's the problem. I'm 43 now. My body, I'm like, oh man, I got to step back a little bit.
So you mentioned PTSD, and when I hear your story, it's not just the PTSD from childhood, PTSD from juvenile hall, PTSD from even the fire service, what you've seen, PTSD from gangbanging, all these things. How do you process all that every day?
So
did you have to learn how to process?
I had to learn. Yeah, I had to learn how to process when I get triggered. So that and I went to treatment. I had no other options, and that was the hardest thing was for me going and facing myself. That's the hardest thing for anybody to do is look in the mirror and go, I'm messed up.
When did you realize that you were messed up?
So with my first child, I had that guy burned alive in his car, and that reset everything back. But the only reason I went, so that I had my flight friends die, I kind of packed it all away, and I'd replay the incident in my head every day, no matter what I was doing, it would just pop up. But I would stop every time I tried to picture the bodies in my head because my mind was blocking it, so I could never process the full event. But the reason that put me to where I wanted to push me to get treatment was my first son. I found out that my ex-wife was pregnant.
Wow.
And I remember being like, I can't do this. I can't do what my dad did to me. I can't. I refuse to. So, yeah, that was hard. I had to go up to treatment, and, man, I had to face a lot of – they describe it as you're there for a week, and you do EMDR, which is like basically a way of like tapping or something to basically process the thoughts.
Are you like, this is
yeah,
too
I'm
much?
like, yeah, well, I had a few breakthroughs, but, yeah, at first I'm like – and I'm in there with cops, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, these fools, because it's all first responders.
Yeah.
So and that was a hard time too. A hard thing for me was transitioning to this when I go to uniform stores to get uniforms. I'm like, damn, cops are here. You know what I mean? Like, this is weird. They'd be looking at me. I'd be looking at them. Like,
How's the arch enemy?
Must stupid. Yeah, what? We're in the same shop. Now I'm like good friends with so many cops.
That's
It's
funny.
hilarious. But that was it. Was
I have, speaking of a cop, I had a cop on a couple weeks
oh yeah,
ago.
that was right before we had talked.
Yeah. Ruben Palomares, but he talked about, he grew up in the neighborhood. So when he went, like his first call was like
One of his homeboys.
a triple murder. And he's just like, he was
normal.
with another cop. They're freaking out, because the dudes are shot and brain matters everywhere. And so he's just like, for me, it was like, oh yeah, I saw this before. And they were tripping out on him. But he said there's nothing for first responders when it comes to addressing those things.
Back then there wasn't.
Especially, yeah, that's what he
For
said.
us now, yeah.
He just said
Especially for firefighters.
like
now.
the old school guys are just like, hey, just deal with it.
Yeah, those are like the leather. If in our job, we call them like the leather ear dudes with the big mustache. You
Yeah.
know, and they're drinking who knows how much. on their
Yeah,
days off,
right.
with the
And
red
I
nose,
think
yeah.
I was thinking about that too with like the World War II veterans. Like you don't hear them saying I have PTSD, but like the Vietnam guys and especially like the Afghanistan and Iraq guys have PTSD.
Yeah.
And I always think about why were the old school guys like just like they didn't complain, but then I realized they weren't the nicest guys.
No.
And the way they dealt with it is alcohol, drugs,
The vices.
are just staying away from not being present when they're around their family sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean that was their way of handling it back then. And there was no such thing as PTSD.
Yeah, my buddy, my ex girlfriend, her dad was in Vietnam, and he's like, "You're fine, you'll get over it." And he would drink a bottle of Maker's Mark a day. He worked for Edison too. He'd go drive like I'm going to Vegas now and take off. I'm like, "You just drink a bottle of Maker's Mark?" I'm like, "What?" And so that's how normal it was for him. Probably like me drinking this bottle of water right now,
Yeah.
And he drank it like a bottle of water
Just to cope.
Yep. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the wrong advice, but
I like your story because I think when you have a kid, you have a decision to make, right? And you realize that either I'm going to be like my dad, or I'm going to try to change this. Yeah. And most of the time, guys will fall into what they know because
It's easier.
Because going the other way is so much harder, right?
it is. Yeah, you have to. There's so much more you have to do to get through life. It's so much easier when it's just like back doorway. And my dad, yeah, he would like joke about like he thought it was cool that he's like, oh, the guy I buy drugs from, he knows you. It's just like he was still talking about something to you a couple years ago at family events. I'm like, dude, You know, my kids are here. Like, what are you doing? But that was the only memories he had.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was angry at him still. Like, I was always being angry at him, you know, things he would do or say. But he would still be, like, verbally abusive, like, in a different way, though. Like, even to this day, you know, and it's just like, damn, dude, like, try to give me advice. I'm like, hey, man, that should have been, like, plus 25 years ago. Like, when I was locked up, he wrote me one letter, and it said, go to the military, Dad. And that was it. And I hadn't heard from him.
Wow.
He just vanished. And those drugs took over, and, man, he picked, I couldn't imagine doing that to my kids. But drugs are a big thing, you know, and, like, yeah, I wasn't a drug addict when I had my kids, you know, so I couldn't speak for him on, like, what the situation was. He worked at the post office. He ruined his career. He just, and it was unfortunate, you know, because I tried to be there for him. I wanted to get him cleaned up, get him a job, and I'm just like, if I can't care for somebody who doesn't care for themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
But me wanting to be a fixer, because that's what I do, you know, like, I try to fix everything, you know what I mean, which is always not good. Probably not good a lot of times, especially in relationships, right? When you're a fixer, you're like, oh.
Most good men are fixers, right? We want to fix everything. We try our best. Yeah. It does suck sometimes, because then when we need to get fixed, we're like, I'll fix it myself.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, right? I'm good. Yeah.
I'll fix it myself. I'm good. And it's not a good thing.
Yeah,
it took me a long time to realize that too. I think a lot of times, you know, you're the fixer, you're trying to figure out a way, or we need extra money. Okay, I'll figure out something. I'll do this, I'll do that, or we're going through these problems, I'm gonna fix it. You know, wife's telling me, let's call a pastor so you can talk to him. No, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to tell nobody all my feelings and all my whole drama. You know, I'll fix it. And I think most men are like that. I don't think it's now that I'm older and now that I realize, I think it's not a sign of weakness to get help.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of men think it's a sign of weakness.
Oh, yeah,
but I think the weakness is continually just going through the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's the weakness.
That's the easiest thing to do. Yeah.
It's easier for you to stay in jail and get 3 meals a day, not have bills, not have responsibility, show up when they tell you to show up. Fine. When you're out, you got to have 3 jobs. You're on a bike, driving to here, there, and everywhere. You know, you're barely making it.
Getting tickets. I got a ticket because I crossed a jaywalk. I'm like, you can have drunk college kids walking or jaywalking. I'm like, this dude, really? You
should have the flip-flops on and the white shorts, bro. You would have been good.
Yeah. Well, when I was up there, I was still packing, too. Like, I went up there, like, creased up. You know, I was still in it. And they were like, people were just looking at me like, whoa, what? And I'm looking at them like, whoa, what? You know,
like boy Cholo up here.
Yeah, what?
Santa Barbara.
Yep.
That's
and
funny.
I actually got into, when I started working at the movie theater, some guys drove by and I remember looking at their car because they had like a body kit. That's when like Fast and Furious was out. But they were looking at me and I'm like, oh, this ain't gonna be good. So I went to like exactly what I knew, which was like, let me get the biggest sharp object I could find. So I found this huge screwdriver, you know, and I'm in my like a little vest and bow tie, you know. Well, they come running up and I pull it out and I'm like, what's happening, you know? And that changed real quick. They were like, okay, we're out, you know, like we're sorry. But I had to stop. And it's hard for me sometimes because I could turn it back on. You know, like as many years as it's been, like it's hard for me to be like, I'm gonna be honest, to sit there and go, man, I'm not gonna lie, you know, if I don't say it, like this is the honest truth. Like I wish this was 25 years ago. I wish this was 30 years ago. You know what I mean? I know I can't, and I'm an adult, I'm a man now, but just in my head sometimes.
You're at the supermarket and then somebody gets smart with you, and you're just like, dude, you don't even know.
Yeah, or like getting in front. Yeah,
right?
Not people. Yeah,
you're just like, okay, cool, man.
Yeah,
and they're just pushing your buttons, and you're just. I know I look like a white dude. I might have tattoos and wear these glasses, but bro, if you see me back in the day, it would have been a different story.
Oh yeah.
I love the undercover guys like that. You know what I mean?
I love it too, and I still see homeboys on calls and stuff, you know, and they know what's up. They look at me like, hell yeah. So, and you know, it's cool. It's cool to, because I touch them that too. You know, every person I go on a call, they're like, man, this guy did it. You know, I get guys all the time like, hey man, how hard was it getting the fire service tattoos? And you know, and I break down the process and show people that there is still, you know,
some hope.
Some hope, yeah, 100%.
For young dudes out there that were once you. Do you see these guys, and what's your advice to them?
To not fall for the lies. You know, misery loves company, and looking back now, I realize, man, all that, hey, we got your back, like, they don't care. Nobody cared about me then. You know what I mean? They didn't care about me then or now. They just wanted me to go down with them, and that's what sucked. Once I decided to change, they were right away like, we don't like that. But it's like, okay, are you going to pay my bills and keep me out of jail? You know what I mean? Like, Are you going to help me? No? Okay.
It gets to that point of like misery loves company. And if they see somebody else coming up a little bit, it's like, wow, you know.
Then it would make me angry where I'd run up on it. You know what I mean? Like, it would make me angry that. So I kind of had like, I was out of it, but I wasn't. It took a little while to fully break away from that. You know? But to give the guys advice, like, hey man, you know, somebody asked me the other day, like, what's the one word of advice for anybody going through everything? Like, it'll be okay at the end of the day. Like, no matter what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's all you have. That's the only kind of hope you can have, you know?
I think you're gonna have more opportunities to share that, man.
I hope so. I want to reach out to people because, man, it's so cool to see all the and it's hard for me at the same time because I'm a very private person. Like, nobody knows my business except for the guys close to me. So it's weird to see everything out in the open, you know. But you know, I'm big on that. So why would I not put it out there? Because I'm big on showing my flaws, you know, and the growth that I made and how to overcome those things. Because a lot of it's up here, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of it is these guys have what it takes. They just up here. They're like, oh, fire department gonna hire me. Look at me.
Yeah.
I was the same way. I'm still the same way. You know, I'm not gonna promote to a chief. You know, I'm at the highest position. I'm gonna retire in the position I'm in as a captain, a station captain. But yeah, I still struggle with it. Just like, you know, and those guys may not think that. Like, people see us and they're like, oh, fire department, but they don't. You don't know. You know, you don't know what we're going through. Like, you know how many kids I've been on that died that remind me of my kids. Like, how many kids I held in my arms that had passed away. You know, or I worked in San Bernardino, like Highland, and it was active like that. I didn't realize that it's like LA in the 90s out there.
Oh, 100%.
They're putting in work. Yeah.
To this day.
They're killing people over candy bars. Yeah. I was like, I mean, every shift was a GSW, a gunshot wound, you know, or stabbing, but there was a part of me once I started working in that environment, because that was the first like kind of environment like that reminded me of where I was, or where I'm from, that it was like, hell yeah. Like it was like, I like this, you know, like this is what it's about right here. Like, these are my people. Like, I'm helping them, you know, and they would see me and they're like, hey man, thanks for helping my family, you know, and it was cool. Like,
you have a greater empathy for those people.
Yeah.
Because you know where they came from. You know what the life they live. Even though it's miles apart, it's like
it's all the same.
Same neighborhood.
No matter what race you are, no matter what, you know, religion, ethnicity, any of that, we're all the same at the end of the day.
Struggle.
Same struggle.
That's crazy.
Different circus, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like my medic, we would go into projects and he were like the aviators, you know, like cop looking, and they're like, hey, your boy, you need to tell him he needs to quit talking like he's interrogating us. So I'd be like, hey man, listen, let me tell you, like, we walked in here, there's one way in and one way out. Okay, so let's keep it that way. You know what I mean? Long story short. And then I was like, it was hard for me. I would go on calls and dudes would square up with me, and I'm like, I would wait to request probably, you know, like back then, like I'll throw down. You know what I mean? Like, I take all my stuff off, kind of like, you know, just square up. I get down on calls. You know, and I was the company officer, so people were like, whoa, you know. But if I'm gonna defend myself and my guys,
right.
But I had one time I got it was in Highland. I was an engineer. One of the firemen had ran back to the engine. Me and this guy, Don Trail, he gets seizures from alcohol, and he was crit from out there. He had like 5150 blocks on his chest. But we pull up and he starts squaring up. So I take out my radio harness, my tablet, put it down, and we start squaring up in the front yard. The fireman runs to the engine. I'm like, and this is a new guy. I'm like, hey, so we stop, right? We're both in shock, like me and the guy. You know, he's like, I can't believe that just happened. I'm like, I can't either. You know, he just wanted to fight me. So I was like, all right, I'll fight him. But yeah, we stopped and I'm like, oh man, I had to talk to him like, hey man, no, that's not, we don't do that out here. You know what I mean?
That's funny, man.
Yeah, it was a trip.
It's something cool to have that, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of have that in my job, and I wasn't in the neighborhood, but family was in the neighborhood. But when I see a guy that changes his life, you know, it's cool. Like, I'm like talking to him like, hey, where'd you grow up at?
Yeah.
Oh, you're from here? Oh yeah.
I know. I see people and I'm like, hey, like you if you know, you know. That's like they say, right? Because you can see somebody and be like,
right.
And even when you cover up tattoos, there's little maybe dots, or, you know, there's little things you can
little
see
signs
where people are from. Yeah.
The walk sometimes, you know, you're just like, okay, I know this dude, and just certain actions, you know, there's a certain amount of respect there too.
There
is.
is.
It's like, okay, cool. And then when you find out that there's a camaraderie there, and there's you know, an understanding, I say sometimes, where you're like, okay, I got a guy like that at my jiu-jitsu gym, and I'm like, and he's tatted down, and they're neighborhood tats, and I'm like, hey, where'd you grow up at? And we start talking, and now it's just like, you know, I'm like, man, it's good, man. You got out of the joint, you're doing good, you're doing jiu-jitsu, like, hey, that's cool. So I appreciate that, man. It's a cool, I think it's a cool gift.
It is, and to see like all these OG dudes come out, you know, like, and be and like embrace that change and want to change and want, even in the, like, watching documentaries about prison and their programs they're in, it's so cool to see that growth with them, you know?
Yeah.
Because these guys, like, they'll get a pet. Like, I could take care of a dog. Like, I can, you know, I could do this for a living. Like, and it's like gives them hope.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have any hope. We didn't have anything. So those few little things, like I've had people throughout my life, like, why do you take such good care of your stuff? Because that's all. It wasn't replaceable growing up. Like we didn't have. We would go to the dollar store and get, you know, a present each for Christmas for me and my sister. That was it. You know, like so it was like some years are rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you know, I don't take anything for granted. I try not to. You know, and always remember at the end of the day, like what's important. You know?
Yeah. How's your life now?
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. It's great. I love what I do. I have 6 years till I retire. I teach a lot with my department on the side. I'm very involved with my kids, you know, in their sports, stuff like that.
How old are they?
8 and 11.
Oh, yeah. Perfect age.
Yeah. Yeah. The two boys. Yep.
What do they play?
My oldest is playing soccer right now. The youngest is
Nice.
playing baseball, but he's not anymore. He's playing out here at I-9. So
Nice.
I had him in flag football. I coached that last year. And then my youngest was in baseball last year. I coached that too.
That's
Out here
dope.
over at Victoria Park. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
How does a guy such as yourself that didn't have nobody to lead him, guide him, become a captain where you have to kind of show men how to work and how to operate, and then you become a father, and you're a present father, you're coaching your boys, you're leading them the right way. How do you become that, man?
I think being presented with all this hardship. If I was never presented with these struggles, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't be the Ian that I am today. You know what I mean? Which took me 43 years pretty much to figure out the reasoning behind the pain, you know, and how I can transform it. So that's what I do is over the years, like I've learned how to shave on my own. Like in juvenile hall, like I had to learn all this stuff on my own, you know, and nobody was here like, hey, I didn't have like the sexual education talk. Like there was nothing. So I think over the years, I had to figure it out for survival. And I pushed myself so hard to learn these things and to be that role model and be an example. Once I started teaching, guys gave me opportunities. I was lucky in this career to have people that mentored me, like captains. And to have them there and to mentor me and show me those things had basically kept me in line. Like they were like my dads, you know, in this job. But they had pushed me and gave me that great knowledge and all that stuff. And I kind of carried it along. And they showed me that I was more than I thought I was. Like, hey, you can teach this. So I teach them like all the live fire stuff. Like in the beginning, I was like, no way, this is too hard, you know? But they gave me that confidence and competence to be where I'm at today. And I had to build that up amongst myself too. And it's hard because I get on myself all the time, you know? I'm like, I don't deserve any of this, right? Like I look, I'm like, I don't deserve this life I have.
All the chances you have,
Yeah.
right?
But then I'm like, you know what? I do because I did this, you know? Like I made that change. And yeah, it's cool. It's cool that I could be here talking about it, and possibly somebody that was in my situation could be like, you know what, I'm gonna change.
And I think you're authentic, man.
Yeah, I try to be.
I think you came off really like that in that video, and I think that's what it was. I think when people saw you, they're like, this guy's for real. You get guys that get, you know, preachy, or you get guys that get kind of like a script, you know, and it's just like, but you can really tell you speak from the heart. And in that video, I saw that, man. I was like, this guy's real, man. Like, and it could have been like, you know, a script that somebody wrote from you and you're going off it, but I felt like you were just being who you were.
Yeah, no, that's how I am. Yeah, all the time. And you know, that's how I always stand. You know, I stand on business, and I'm always that way, and I don't fool for anything, you know. But I'm always want to help the next guy. You know, and that's not out like mentorship with the kids these days, and in the fire service. You know, like there's a lot of guys, they don't mentor these young kids coming in. So I just see it as an opportunity for me to change somebody's life. So I get the guys, say, come here, do you know how to throw a ladder? Do you know how to pull a hose? Like, and we start doing that stuff. And my goal is to teach these guys everything I know and more. I want them to be way smarter than me, right? I didn't have that coming up in this job. So again, a thing I didn't have, I want to make sure I'm giving it to everybody as much as I can. I was even running the new hires, all our new hires. I do their academies. I did for like 4 or 5 years because I loved it so much. You know, seeing the excitement and it motivates me. And I learn something every class that I'm teaching. I learn something, you know.
That's the fulfillment.
It's the fulfillment, yeah. And then for the guys at the end, and I see the guys, they would come work overtime with me. I have a lot of good dudes that I work with, and they're like, "Hey, Cap, like that training you did in the academy, like you wouldn't believe the next week when I got out, you know, we had a fire, and man, I pulled that hose like, and I set it up with the coil, you know, whatever it was. Thanks for showing me that. You know, it was cool that we learned that. Like, you know, it helped out a lot. So I get that still, like, and that's the fulfillment part of it. You know, is reaching out and giving to these guys. You know, And I'm fun. I'm like the fun captain, you know. But when it's game time, it's game time. We pull it to a fire, like, you better go. Or I'm taking that nozzle, you know, like, you better move. Like, that's how it is. And I may be a little too aggressive, but that's just the young Ian, you know.
Right.
I still have that inner child, you know, and that's like the street stuff, but like in a good way, you know, where I'm still aggressive, I still get after it, but
Yeah.
but for the better, you know.
So being 43 now, the younger Ian's behind you a little bit, but when you get that way, do you ever find like, dang, I can't do what I used to do, man?
Oh yeah, I felt the next day for sure. Oh yeah, I try to do things, and the guys are like, "Stop, Cap, we got it," and I'm like, "Dude, no, move." You know, like it's hard for me
To let it go a little bit, huh?
Yeah, like I just can't. I'm still gonna always be a fireman in my heart.
Yeah.
That's always my passion, you know. And when I'm with the guys, the firefighters, like the young guys, I'm like, I get back in. It's almost like I'm like reliving my early days in the fire service, you know, and I'm having fun with it.
I think, yeah, because I'm a little bit older than you, but you get to that 40-year-old age, and then it's like you're trying to do the thing. I could still do it. It's all up here. You still got it.
Yeah.
But it's just getting there. You know what I mean? To do it,
Applying
right?
it, yeah,
I see the old fighters used to say that, right? I see the opening. I just can't get my fist to that opening in time.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you're like, I think the hardest part is just going, okay.
I know, and I have to hang it up.
And accepting it a little bit. And yeah, we're men. We have a little bit of pride in what we do.
Especially in
right?
that job where it's like alpha male. Like these dudes
100%.
Like it's a Shark Tank. I'm not gonna lie. Like you go in there, you talk about gangs that like, it's like that. It's like, who's this dude? Like, where's your paperwork? Where'd you come from? It's straight up. Like, that's how I look at it. I'm like, where's your paperwork? Like, I need to look at your resume and see where you've been, you know?
Right.
Like, have you ever worked a fire job before? You know, and
Yeah.
it's crazy to run it like that. But I tell the guys, yeah, I'm gonna run this like, we're gonna program. You know what I mean? Like it's just that's how I keep the guys in line.
You wake them up in the morning and do the south side workout, or what are you doing, bro?
No. We wake
You
up
doing
on our own.
burpees or what?
We're the second busiest engine out of like 100 plus stations.
Wow.
So, and we're a 3-engine house. So there's 9 of us, 10 of us on duty at a time. We work 72 hours together, and we're in an open barracks. So there's these 2 beds and like a little tiny partition wall, like maybe this tall.
Oh, so that's just like
It's party time. It's like all your homeboys. You're in there. It's literally like a frat house.
It's kind of like Juvenile Hall all over again, right?
Oh yeah. I told those dudes, I'm like, who bang? I'll be in there. It's so fun. Yeah, we have the best time.
There is something about a brotherhood like that, though, right? I think even with the gang, right? That you just like the normal person doesn't understand. You played on a team or in sports, or you had this group of friends, or you just had this camaraderie. There's something about that guys just, you never let it go.
Yeah, they eat it up.
And
then you talk to guys, and a lot of these guys who are adult inmate firefighters from my department, they get out, and like I see a lot of guys like, hey, I used to be with you guys, and they always stop and they go, man, that was the best time I ever had.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, let's come on, like get back in it. What do you mean that's the best time you ever had? Like keep having that best time.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you never know till you apply yourself. And I always say that. And I was the one that was like, nah, I'm not going to get it. Nah. And I'm not going to lie, I'm still like that. Where people are like, stop. You're like, you need to stop.
Yeah.
Because my inner child will come out, Like, and it is what it is.
You think you're going to miss it when you're gone?
Yeah. I was already thinking about that. I was like, man, I got 6 years left. And I was thinking the other day, I'm like, wait, I'm a captain. I'm like, I'm those dudes that, I'm the old crusty dude like that. I'm like, wait. It went by so fast.
Yeah, right? Life's
like all those
bro.
dudes that, like, retire, they had passed away, or it's just like, man, like, yeah, life just, what happened? Like, I just look back and I'm like, whoa.
I was listening to somebody the other day, and it was a podcast from, I forget, but they were saying how when you're young, like, 2 months is like a lifetime away.
Yeah.
And then, but when you're old, it like this whole year is just gone already. And I'm just like, it's going to be December in a week.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. And then the guy was saying, he goes, it's because when you're young, 10 years old, 11 years old, 2 months is a very larger percentage of your life.
Yeah. At that age.
But when you're 45, 50, it's a very short percentage of your life. And that's why it seems like it goes so fast. And I thought about that, and I was like, dude, that's true.
Yeah, 100%.
I said, that's true, because like, this year is just gone. Like it seemed like once I turned 50, it was just like fast. And I'm just like,
you're like, whoa, slow down.
I'm like, and it sucks because now I'm like enjoying life.
That's how I am.
I don't worry about a lot of stuff anymore. And I'm like, I want to enjoy this. So can we just slow down a little bit? It doesn't slow down.
No.
It just
goes
going.
faster.
It goes faster.
Yeah.
Like,
but then On the other hand, like I remember being locked up, being like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna
Counting
do
the days,
that.
counting the hours.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, this sucks.
Maybe that probably helps you though.
It
You know what I
does,
mean?
but
Helps-
then I get time added, like just all kinds of stuff.
But I'm saying it helps you manage to slow things down because maybe that
now,
forced, slowed time you didn't have no control over. Now you're like, well, I know how to relax a little bit. I know how to slow it down a little bit because of that time I spent where I didn't have a choice. It had to be slow. It just was it was what it was.
Yep, and I'm the type where I'm like OCD or like a busybody. So I recently found it out where when I get triggered by something, I have to go and I'll start just doing stuff like vacuuming. I don't know what it is. At
You're
work,
that
I'll
guy.
start doing the diamond plate. Like I just like leave me alone, and it just to work through whatever I'm going through,
Yeah.
just to clear my mind. I go and I'll zone out, and that's my time,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I kind of operate. But I'm a normal guy, just like the rest of the guys. Like
Yeah.
I'm there for all my guys. I don't think I'm any better than anybody else. If anything, I think I'm worse than everybody else. But they're like, no, you're good.
I'm sure
You're making it.
You've been in the service for 23 years, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure
It was hard, man, because
done
with
something right.
my tattoos, like they failed me in my engineer academy, and it was for other reasons. But yeah, to have to go back after not failing something, like that was rough. And I went back a year later and had to sit through all the same curriculum.
Wow. Little humbling.
Yeah, but it was for the wrong reasons. It wasn't because of my confidence or competence in the shop. It's because of how I look.
Wow.
And when I got my hair cut, shaved, because my head's small as tattoo. Back then, a top one tattoo, but they couldn't see the sides. So when I did cut it,
So you didn't pass because of your appearance.
I'm not.
Or
Yeah. It 100%. Can I prove it? No, not like recorded or paperwork. You know? Like there's a gray area. There's that area of like I know.
But do you
comments?
Do you anticipate that, or did you just think that I've done so much service already?
I didn't anticipate it.
It should be looked.
Yeah, I didn't. As a young man, I did.
Yeah.
Right, because how I was.
Yeah.
But now, no, I didn't anticipate it because I used to be like, oh, that's because I look like this. That's why they pulled me over. No, probably because I'm out doing bad things. Is why they, you know what I mean? Like they didn't just be like, oh yeah, just get him. I know some cops do that. That's how it is. Some places I get it, and I grew up around those, that LA County, like those in the '90s with the cops.
Yeah, but if you have a shaved head and you're in the '83 Regal, they're probably gonna pull you over.
Oh yeah, you're getting pulled over. We got pulled over by a horse cop. Remember my buddy's
horse cop.
He was in a big remember those like big body Caprices that like '80s, late '80s.
Yep.
Yeah, we were rolling, and they tried to get us on lead hammer first Dayton's. Because you remember the spinner, you got to hit it with the lead hammer. They tried to get us on that. Pulls over on a horse. I'm like, dude, for real? A horse? I'm like, what? I was tripping out. It was right there on Washington and Fair Oaks.
That's funny.
The King's Manor's right there by the Bloods.
Yeah, I know where that's at.
By the laundromat and all
I've
that.
been working at Caltech a lot.
Oh, okay. So
I'm
you're
all
like
in
so
that
mouth,
area,
yep.
right? Yeah, that's wild. Recently, you said that you found Christ.
Yeah, well, within the last 5 years, my faith has become a lot stronger. Or the last 4 years, my faith has been long. And I got baptized almost 2 years ago now with my boys, me and my kids.
How did you find Christ?
Man, just when
I know you said you would pray, but
when I
said
got
nobody in your family was really church
No,
going or
'cause-
nothing like that. I mean, we always hear the stories, right? My mom was praying for me, or my grandma, or something like that. But you said you didn't have nothing really.
So like I wasn't close to my dad's side of the family because of my dad. We were never like not super close to them, but they were Catholic because they're Sicilian. My mom wasn't in any religion, but as time went on, I remember when I went to a treatment for my PTSD. I remember I woke up like in the middle of the week and I'm like, I just want to die, and I had the worst chest pain. And it was at a church, like the barracks was like connected to this little church, so we went in there. I went in there. I remember just praying. I'm like, man, please help me. And the pain went away like that. And I remember just being like, okay, I see you, and even when I wasn't getting, and I still don't get those kind of answers or stuff, that I look for, but I know he's there. You know what I mean? And I know he's watching out. So somebody is, other than him too, like other people up there,
Yeah. You got baptized?
Yeah. I got baptized at the beach.
How was that?
It was cool. We did it at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super cool. It was so weird, like going in the water when you're at the shore right there, like backwards. I didn't realize how weird that is till I did it, and I'm like, this is super uncomfortable. I feel like I just drowned, because I had my water going up in your nose from the backside, or I don't know what it
Who
is.
baptized you, man? They're supposed to tell you to hold your nose.
They did, but I still felt weird going in there, and I'm a bigger guy,
Yeah.
I'm 6 feet, I'm like 180 pounds, but they had to like lift me back, and it was women, and they were like, whoa, I had to kind of like help myself back up, I'm like, don't let me go.
I know. we do baptism at our church, and I'm like, man, I had to baptize a couple people, and I'm just like, I'm just hoping. I baptized my brother-in-law and one of my good friends, Taco God, and I'm just like, man, I want to hold your nose, man. This Father, Son, Holy Spirit, bam.
Yep.
Did you feel any different?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did feel different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt complete.
Wow.
Yeah, I did. I really did. That was a good, and I have to take myself back to that sometimes.
Yeah.
When I start feeling those times when I don't have that faith or I'm down on myself, you know, and luckily I have people in my life now that support me, and they're there for me. So
Yeah.
that's all I need. That's all anybody needs. It's just love, support, just the basic human necessities. You know what I mean? Like food, water, love, affection, you know, just basic things. Like, you know, I had an ex that was something like, you want me to kiss the ground you walk on? Like, I don't expect nothing. I don't have expectations at this point. I may have before, but I don't now, you know?
The simplest things still make you happy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah,
Even as you get older.
I'm a simple person.
Yeah.
Yeah, super simple. Yeah. I still love, like, man, yeah, just riding bikes with my kids, you know, like, I go in the garage and work on things, you know. There's still things I'm passionate about, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
How does, you know, I have one thing with PTSD and people coming to God. You know, I think there's two ways to go about it, because I think a lot of times people come to God and then maybe the church or people in the church say, you know, well, that it's gone, the PTSD.
Yeah.
And then you go to a good church and they're like, hey, you know, a good church will recognize, like, this is above our pay grade. You still need some professional help.
Yep.
You know? But I always found that when you blend the two, like it's a good thing.
Oh yeah.
Because you learn, and it's funny because when
it all relates. It all ties
Yeah.
in to
because I think the word talks a lot about it.
Yeah.
You know, about your thoughts, about capturing every thought. So I mean, that's what it's about. When a bad thought comes in my thing, or I get triggered, then I really have to go, okay, who am I again? You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not me anymore.
Yep.
I know who I am. And then that comes from the Bible. But if you tie that in also from, you know, and ask God for strength on top of it, then it's like, okay, like I'm doing the fighting over here on my own, and I'm capturing these thoughts. I'm trying to tell myself, like, this is not true. That's not who I am anymore. And I'm getting these thoughts. But now at least I can go to a father anytime and say, hey, I need a little boost. I need a little help.
Yeah. Yeah. My, a part that really pushed me away from the church is when I was like, with my ex-wife, probably like maybe like 8 years ago. We weren't married at the time, maybe a little longer. We weren't married at the time, but we had kids already. And I wanted to get baptized Christian. And they told me it's a smaller church in the city I used to live in. And I go to Water Life now, and I love it over here in Fontana. I love water. Pastor Dan and all them. And it's just a trip that they wouldn't baptize me. And I'm like, because I'm living in sin because wedlock, you know. But I'm like, well, we don't judge, though. Like, we don't do that, dude. Right. And I didn't know that. I'm like, wow, they really said no. I'm like in shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't process that. And that really deterred me away from, like, even wanting to be involved in that. You know, I was like, I don't, that church especially.
Yeah, I think there's, you know, there's a lot of, if you have multiple people on here where we talk about church hurt and things like that, and how they never would go back, you know, and I always say this. I always say I understand it. It's not like it's not there, you know, but I realize that even though we're Christian, we make mistakes.
Yep. And
people make mistakes, and they're still human. You know, I think but we do hold church people to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And so when it's like a double whammy, because it's like you get hurt. If it was probably somebody from the street, you'd have been like, well, screw you, dude, whatever, man. But it's like, well, you're from the church. You're supposed to be closer to God than be now it's like a double hurt, because
it's kind of like disheartening.
Yeah.
You know? It really is. It makes you lose hope and faith.
There's really a lot of people like that. You're not the only one. There's a lot. I've battled that. You know, I've had people burn me in churches or do things to me, and I'm just like, what the heck? I just try to stay focused on God. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that people don't hurt me. It doesn't mean that people are not gonna let me down in the church. I understand that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
And that's the thing is you have to understand it. You have to accept it.
Because to be transparent, I probably let somebody down. Just like I'm sure you, the best captain you can be, but I'm sure there's a recruit or somebody out there that remembers you and he's like, yeah, dude.
Oh, that's probably because he did something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Look at this guy.
Hey,
He's like,
I got to get on him. Like, he ain't listening. Like, you know what I mean?
He's
We
like,
take further action from there.
He's like, nah.
It ain't the streets, but
I've done
there's a
everything
reason,
right.
You know what I'm saying? No, I haven't done everything right. But, like, I get what you're saying 100%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
even if you did, there's probably somebody.
There's always going to be something.
Always something.
Always. Yeah. Even now, like, I still get, oh, man, at work, like, rumors or, you know, there's just always something. It's just like,
yeah.
And that's where I'm at now where I could just brush it off or be like, yeah, whatever. You know
That's a good part about getting old.
Yeah, but sometimes I do still, like, you know, look up. Like, I just still do get, like, what? If I have to, you know?
I think you're always going to be like that.
I know,
bro.
and I try to shake that.
You're going to be like 65, bro, and still trying to bowl up with somebody across the street.
I know.
And they're going to look at you and like, oh, man, you can't do this no more. My father-in-law's like that, bro. I mean.
I don't do it, but
up
it's
until
hard
maybe
for me
like a year ago, right, Kim? Pop. I mean, he's older, bro, but he would still try, like, if somebody disrespected him, he's from Watts. So if somebody disrespected him,
I used to go to get my tattoos lasered off there too. Like Killer King, remember Killer King?
Yes.
Oh yeah, True King Medical Center.
He would, you know, and it would be like, you're not that guy. But I think, you know, he's an old Watts guy, Vietnam guy. Of course, there is some pride
here's the thing,
inside
like,
of you.
The one thing I've carried my whole life, and I've from my childhood or from those gang days, is the respect.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing I've never stood, you know,
Yeah.
folded up on. I've been like, hey, 100%. Like if you start disrespecting me and my family, like it's on, you know. And
Especially if you're respectful.
yeah,
From the jump.
Yep.
Right. Like,
100%.
You know what I mean? Like I'm
if you're
respectful.
not looking for trouble and you're just a normal person, just doing their day-to-day thing, and somebody just has an issue because they don't like the color of shoes you're wearing, you know what I mean? Like it's just ridiculous.
There's things, you know. We had a new neighbor move in. I seen him. You know, I'm a nice guy. I'm out there. You know, and like you, I'm sure. My wife always says, "Have you seen the way you look?" You know, and I'll be out there in a Raider hat, and I'm.
I got stared at when I parked
right, and I might and I forget, but I'm a nice guy. I've been a Christian like my whole life. I have, you know, I'm like, what? And she's like, well, sometimes you look like a little like
I know.
I wouldn't. She goes, I know you. Your friends know you. Your family knows you. But somebody might get the wrong impression. I'm like, I'm a nice guy though. And she goes, well, you never know. And I tell this guy, you know, the neighbor, I'm like, you know, he moved in. I see him. I'm washing the car, and I'm like, hey, how's it going, man? Good morning.
Nothing. Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like,
See, that would-
like we're neighbors. Like,
Yeah.
I'll look out for you. Like, I'm a good neighbor. The people across the street, you know, I'll help them. My other friend across the street, you know, like he's a cop. Like, hey man, what, you need something? Like, cool, I'll help you out.
We can go over there right now.
But I'm just like, dude, like,
Yeah.
what is the issue here? But I mean, I'm not saying, you know, it's a mutual respect thing, and it goes a long way. And I think a lot of people don't recognize that.
Some people are entitled. Some people think they deserve. They didn't come from nothing like some of us. They didn't come from like those few things we had that meant so much to us. Like putting a Band-Aid on my Converse and Juvenile on the back so I can keep the All-Star looking new on visits. You know what I mean? Like there was just certain things that they don't know the struggle. And they're like, oh, I'm this is what I deserve. You know, they think they just entitlement.
Yeah.
Which is whack. It's bunk. Like it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
It gets no play. Around me and my fire station, nah.
Done.
Mm-mm. Yep. Done. Yeah.
How do you run your fire station?
Like a prison. No, we have we have a good time, but we go on train, we do our spot drills. I like to joke a lot. I think that's my way of dealing with trauma too, is joking. Like I've done it since I was a kid. Always the one, you know, and mess around. They're like, hey, fool, you got chill, you know, and I'm like, nah, let's keep doing it. You know what I mean? And I'm like that still now, where I like the firefighter's like, dude, you're crazy. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I should probably pull back a little bit.
When it's your night to cook, are you cooking a spread?
No. We've done that before, though. We thought about opening my buddy's tattoo artist. He's like, hey, we should open. He kept always try to get me the apprentice tattoo. And I'm like, dude, I don't tattoo. Like, I don't want nothing to do with tattoos. Yeah. So we would go to the shop and just make spreads, you know? He's like, we should open a restaurant with spreads. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we do switch off on cook nights, though. So
I asked
that's
cop Ruben. I was like, I go, is it good? He goes, it is good. He goes, that's all you had to eat. It's good. He goes, once in a while I'll make something, you know, and it's that. And I was like, no way. He's like, yeah, dude, it's just memories, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, at the station though, like with our eating, like guys, we try to eat healthy there. But a lot of guys, if they cook a bad meal, like back in the days, if you cook a bad meal, it's getting thrown on the lawn, you know. there were some things I'm like, man, this place is rough. Like, jeez.
You rather have the prison food?
Yeah, I was like, hey, what's going on in here?
That's when you know it's bad.
Yeah.
I'd rather have jail food than somebody making it for us.
What's funny is on the wildland fires, our inmates run the food trailers. So when I go up there, you know, I always come out with like extra honey buns and like that, and they're like, how'd you get all that? And I'm like, I don't know, just, you know.
That's pretty cool.
Because when you know what I mean. We can see it. We know.
Is that weird for you? Like being on both sides, and maybe they don't know, but you know.
The guys, yeah,
they know
my
now?
guy, like guys don't. A lot of guys now,
Okay.
especially since all this came out.
Yeah.
But like before they didn't, you know. But they would look at me and just assume, right? Because most people do that. What they don't know, they fear, so they're gonna assume like, you know, what they saw on, like, when they saw American Me or so. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, okay, yeah, you know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What a long way, man.
I know, and I'm so happy to be where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I never pictured myself being out here, living out here, working as a captain, have kids. You know, like, man, life's been great.
Yeah.
As hard as it's been the best thing for me to
Right.
keep me where I'm at.
2 boys to carry on
Yep.
your name.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And yeah, we were the first. Yeah, so that was just my boys, and then my cousin has boys, so they carry on the name too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A new start for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you trip out on all the things that you experienced, like at their age already, and then you see them and you're just like,
Yeah, like I was saying, the tattoo
they have
thing.
a different
They're still playing with Legos and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I just was like,
growing
I
up
was already,
slow.
Yeah, I was already smoking Cocoa Puffs. You know, like we were already doing naughty things at that age. You know, in the 6th grade, I remember we had a full riot at the school I went to, the junior high, because he came out of prison with the blacks and, you know, the Southerners, and it was popping off. Like I remember in the hallway, like people getting decked. Like it's just not what it is today.
Yeah.
Especially where my kids go to school in Menifee or Murrieta. You know, it's different than everywhere else. You know, if you know what I'm saying. Like I had to get out of there, but yeah. So that's it's a trip though to see. I'm like, man, these kids have no idea. But at that age, like I said, I thought I knew everything. You know,
Yeah.
I thought I'm like, oh, I know. You know, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I ain't tripping.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I'm like, I didn't know what I was doing. Should have listened.
Should have listened.
I should have, but then I shouldn't have, because
But who are you going to listen to?
I know, and that's the thing.
Right?
Is, well, my mom did tell me, but she wasn't real. I needed somebody there to beat me. You know what I mean? To like not beat me, but like, hey, keep me in line.
Yeah.
You know. But I had like, man, I remember one of my homeboys. We would call him AWOL because he would AWOL from so many group homes. But this way, he'd come to my window, and I'd be like, hey, come in. And I built like a little room for him in the closet. You know what I mean? So we had like, it was just craziness all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and she wasn't there, so it was on and popping. You know.
Yeah.
I was the streets ate me up. And I was all about that lifestyle. I enjoyed it. Yeah. It's crazy looking back now. I'm like, man, it's a trip. I wonder what happened to all those guys. You know?
Yeah.
I seen a couple, and it was sad because one of my good friends that I went to junior high with, and he actually works as a janitor, but he doesn't remember me because all the drugs, you know? Like,
Wow.
it's just, that sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks to see that talent wasted, you know?
Yeah. A lot of guys that were talented.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of guys that were, I'm like, man, they were fun. I had family members, you know. My uncles were talented guys, just could not let, you know, drugs, alcohol, street life, all that stuff. They couldn't let it go, and it was just
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to change. It's
Yeah.
impossible for some people.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the struggle we live in, you know. And I think finding those resources and those people that can help you through that and relate to that and give you that inspiration and hope, you know, it's huge, positive, you know, in a positive way.
Who do you go to now? And when you need to get recalibrated and you're kind of having a rough time and you can't fix it.
I have a counselor, so I do counseling, and then
Nice.
friends, guys I work with. You know, sometimes I believe that self-help within amongst ourselves, you know, especially in the job that I'm in.
Yeah.
I do like put us out of service for like a pediatric fatality or something gnarly. Like I'll put us out of service and we'll get a critical incident stress debriefing going. But other than that, like, yeah, just those people who are close to me like that, and some of the guys I work with that mentored me, you know, because a lot of those guys, like I said, are my dad figures. I still talk to them to this day, you know, text them, they're retired and stuff like that, but I still have a lot of good dads out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good people. Yeah, and they naturally just took to me because of who I am, and I had such motivation and inspiration to do everything. Like I used to be, I'm scared to work at this station, you know, and I'm like, send it, let's go, you know what I mean? Like, but I noticed in my job too, a lot of guys get that badge and they're a different person. You know, and I got to show them what time it is sometimes, you know, like what that person really is.
Yeah.
So I have to bring it back to that, you know, like, hey, you ain't from the streets. Like, let's not pretend, you know what I mean?
Right.
That little badge can go bye-bye, you know?
Yeah.
That don't mean nothing to me at that point. You know, like when it comes to the respect thing.
Yeah.
Because there is guys that think, oh, I'm above these people now.
Right.
You know, and you're like, what? Like, nah, boy.
Yeah.
Just like all the rest of us. Like, just like that dude on the street over there. Like, you know, we're all the same.
Yeah. Is there, you know, this generation is not really about service. You know, I'm not saying there's not young men that will serve, but I'm saying it's not like it used to be. You know, for some reason, service is it's not what they think about. You know, when they have to give up. You know, in your case, or a police officer's case, their life. Our soldiers' case, you know, you're laying down your life for other people, for strangers.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not that big in this culture. I mean, why do you think that is?
This newer culture?
Yeah, this newer generation, I should say.
I feel like it's a lot of like hands-off generation, you know? Like, dudes, we got a guy at the station, like, I don't know, what I put in the lawnmower for fuel? How do I start the lawnmower? I'm like, what? You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I didn't grow up with the dad teaching me that, but you better believe I learned and taught myself, especially in Juvenile. I had to mow the whole freaking track thing they had, you know, the big lawnmower, the ride-on one.
Yeah.
That was legit. But I don't know. I do see that. You know, I see that they're more emotional, like more open to getting treatment and stuff like that. But I see there's like a softer side, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like that blood, sweat, and tears like back then, you know, where we're like pushing till we push till my, you know, I don't care if I get burned or I break something, you know what I mean? This is what I chose to do. And I think that passion is just not there. Guys are scared. Like when I went and did that rescue, we were third in, you know, and it should have been the first in, do engine, make an entry, getting in there, you know, like, and there's just a different aggressiveness, you know? And it's funny because when I got burned, people were looking on the schedule and they're like, we already know who it was because they already know how I am. And they look at everybody else and, you know, there's some of the guys over there, you know, and maybe because I'm just, you know, I get, like, it's like adrenaline rush, you know what I mean? I love it.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, I think because they haven't. Plus, I've been like that, though, my whole life, you know? Like, I love that. So I love being on the edge.
Yeah.
Like, oh, am I going to get killed today? You know, like it's just a trip, you know? Like, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? It's just, like, it's super interesting.
I survived again.
Yeah. Whoops. How'd I do that? But, yeah, that's.
I mean, I would say you're maybe extreme.
Maybe, yeah.
But I think if we.
You kind of have to be.
Yeah. Well.
In that job, like,
for sure, right?
Yeah, because you're going to have to do some things that everybody else isn't going to do.
Yeah.
You know? And that's where it comes down to what you're really about, you know. And I remember
because it could be a job or it could be of service, right?
So we have our paycheck firemen, and then we have our dudes who are passionate,
right?
That do this job for.
Can you tell right off the bat?
Yeah,
Ooh.
100%. Oh, and they know what time it is.
Yeah.
And if I can't change, and I do the preventative, I try to mold them to what I want. But then after that, you know, it is what it is. If they don't want
collect the check for 20 years and then
not on my station, not on my engine. You best be gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What do you look for
in guys?
In a new recruit, a new guy that comes.
A young me.
Yeah.
A young me. A hungry. You know, I want somebody who's hungry, who wants it, who's gonna be aggressive, who wants to train all the time, who's gonna be bugging me, asking questions. That's what I want. Because that dude that's just sitting around, not, you know, where I have to tell him, hey, go look this up, put a class on the extrication equipment or, you know, the rubbish.
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't have to go on. Dude, these two should be. And I was that type where I was a self-motivator, you know, because I loved it so much and I was so excited to be a part of this.
Right.
This group, you know, and to be looked at as like a hero, not a hero. I never thought of myself as a hero or anything like that, but to be looked at as, you know, public safety and be like, it's cool. Like, this is cool. Like, especially coming from nothing.
Yeah.
You know, man. Yeah, it was quite the change, man. I never expected it.
Yeah, there's something different about a guy, you know. I tell guys at work, young guys, I'm like, look, man, stay busy. I don't really know how to do everything. Okay. You come back, your foreman gives you something to do. When you're done with it, come back and ask him if he has anything else.
There's not enough self-initiation. Like when the guys walk by, you're like, why do I have to walk by this trash can 10 times and I have to empty it?
Right.
Like, dude, when I was a fireman, like I would have been on that before that captain even walked into the barracks. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, hey, man, because I'll hide pennies behind the toilets and stuff to see if they clean back there. That's an old school trick we would do. So when I come back in the next shift and all those pennies are still back there, I'm like, all right, you fools are playing me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a no-no.
Yeah.
So then, and we'll figure.
Right.
Yeah, this last shift we had, we get into it in there. Like you'd be surprised sometimes what you walk into.
Because that's what you have to be, right?
You got to be. Yeah, you have to. You got to
stand.
You got to stand your ground, and you got to. If something's not right, you got to fight for the guys, and that's what I am. I'm there for the guys.
Yeah.
So like when issues come up and somebody's in the wrong, like it's gonna get fixed real quick.
Yeah. Because you guys are looking out for each other too when you're going to a fire, right?
Yeah, and if
you're depending on that guy.
Yeah, and if guys are beefing it and I can't trust you or for whatever reason, we're going to a fire, dude. Like, what if I go through, fall, through the roof or whatever? Like, you gonna be like, homeboys gonna be like, I don't like that fool anyways. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully nobody would do that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to. There's a bond that you have right off the bat that is just, I don't know how to explain it, especially when you go through trauma with somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I have guys that one of my friends that died that were with me on that, and man, there's just something about experiencing that with somebody else that it's just something you take to your grave.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad. So like the events that have happened, but I feel like, it just, it's kind of like a bitter sad, like I'm like, okay, like it happened before. I was like, oh, I should have been part of that,
Yeah.
As a young guy, because I didn't have those people there mentoring me, telling me how to do, like what's going on. Like, this is probably what you're thinking right now because your brain's everywhere. You just went through something very traumatic, there was none of that. It was like, oh, no, cool, later, see you. So it's just kind of dealing with it on your own and figuring it out. And I've had a lot of trial and errors, a lot. But I'm an innovator, I'm excited. I love being proactive. I love motivating. I like creating new tools for the job. Like, I love it. I nerd out on fire stuff. That's the one thing I do nerd out on. That's
your passion.
That's my passion. Yeah, you go in my garage. I got my helmets up there. Like the red flag. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's my life. It's a lifestyle. It really is. As many people, as hard as we want to not bring it home with us, it is because it's just one of those things. I mean, we live there for 3 days, and most departments don't have the schedule we do, 3 on, 4 off. So my station's busy. We get rocked that first night. And imagine the second and third night. We can't sleep during the day either. Maybe a nap at lunch, but man, this last shift. We were up. We had 5 after midnight on one day, and I still had a whole nother day to go. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! Like, really? Like, I literally went to bed and I'm seeing the sunrise. That sucks. Like, that's rough. And you got a whole day. We got to go train, and I'm like, man, my day's already shot. It's already shot. But that's just the job.
Yeah. Fitness wise.
Yeah, I'm in fitness.
I'm in shape. Are you having? If you guys are showing up sloppy or getting out of shape, are you on them?
Oh yeah,
you have to be, right?
Yep. And we there's a line though, a certain line we can't cross. You know what I mean? Where it becomes now like they're gonna follow us for harassment. So that's a really fine line right there that we know not to cross. Some dudes cross it, they don't care, and they're down. Like so. But yeah, there's guys. Even my engineer, like he started jamming up just the ambulance guys because they had their shirts untucked, and he's like, "Hey man," he went and talked to their supervisors. I'm like, "Oh come on," But he presses them. We got a call, and he's like, "Ooh, I got 2 of them," like. Because, yeah, we should be showing up. Yeah, I don't look the most professional, right? But I do when I'm in my uniform. Like, I can't change this,
Yeah.
But I show up, clean cut, my uniform clean, pressed, always. Right. Yeah, dudes show up sloppy. There's guys like that all the time. Like, dude, clean your gear, clean your helmet. Like, make your bed. Like, wash your sheets. Like, dude, you'd be surprised. I'm like, man, your mom, that's a big thing, too. Mom's not here, dude. Like, daddy's here, but mom's not. Daddy's here. Daddy's here. A lot of the guys are like, I want you to be my adopted dad.
No, you don't.
Let me get my belt out. You need a spanking, then if that's the case.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go down to the leather shop and have them make you a special belt.
Yeah. Like we go paddle.
Man, good stuff, bro.
Yeah.
I'm glad we met, man.
Yeah, you're cool. Yeah, I was talking on the phone when I was talking on the phone, like, and that's the thing when you connect with somebody like that, it's cool, because there's a lot of people around us that are nice and we get along with, but there's those few people, if you know. Like at work, I tell the guys, there's a few homeboys for sure.
Yeah.
Like, and you know who they are, and we just have a different bond, you know.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Yeah.
Dope stuff. Man.
It's cool to find people like yourself.
Yeah. You too, man. I'm glad we met.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And I believe the Lord's gonna use you more, man.
I know, and everything's been changing so much, so rapidly, that it's almost overwhelming. And I'm trying to just like, okay, because I still got life to do, work.
Sure.
And everywhere I go, people are like, "Oh, I saw your podcast," and that. Or not podcast, the post, and it's just like, I tell them, "Oh, I got this podcast coming up." I was telling about, some of the people were asking about you and your thing. So,
dope.
Yeah, it's dope to
take it easy,
get this opportunity.
But God's gonna use. I feel like God's gonna use your story. And the crazy thing is that you teach.
Yeah.
So you already know how to talk.
I know. Yeah.
You know how to talk to people.
Kind of. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like your story. You're a leader. You've been through a lot, and then. You're a teacher, so you kind of like put it all together. And it's weird how God does that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you got all this training way before, you became a Christian.
Yep.
And then God gets all your trauma and all these things, and he says, "Okay, Ian, I'm going to use it for for my good.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
and when you do good, just like when you go to a fire and help somebody, it feels good inside.
Oh yeah, rewarding.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all that trauma is like, okay,
It was worth it.
I can use this
Yep.
to make it a positive in my life or for somebody else's life.
And that's where I started really reaching out. I was just doing it for my department when I had promoted, went to San Bernardino, Cal Fire. I was working in Highland, and I was doing their annual training, and I did some San Bernardino County mental health people came in, and I did they wanted me to do the Esperanza presentation, so I would do my event, and it was emotional. It was hard, telling my story from beginning to end, like.
Yeah.
But I did so much, and I saw, as hard as it was for me, because I swear I walk out of there after talking for an hour, and I felt like I was up all night at work.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, like as soon as I get in my car, my body's just like shutting down. I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, because it's a lot that's coming out. But I realized probably out of like 50 people I had, maybe 20 hit me up after that. Like, I got problems. And I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, this is a trip.
Yeah.
And that changed everything. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because the firefighters are human.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny how a lot of people don't think that we make mistakes or we look like this, but I'm the most broken person there is, you know what I'm saying? And here I am in this position,
And it's a lot. It's a lot of stress, not only on yourself, but your family. You know what I mean? It's
even at work, just making those decisions on scene of a fire. Like, I have to make a decision like that.
Yeah.
And it's so routine that I'll be like, yeah, okay, boom, nailed it. Let's go. Just because of how much I teach and how involved I'm in this craft. It's an art. It's a craft to me. It's an art. Reading fire, teaching fire, all the life stuff. It took me the live fire stuff, teaching that I started in 2010. I didn't even finish my task book till like maybe 22, 21, 20. So that's just one task book, the fire control. And then you don't go there and they just like give you signatures. You got to teach
each one.
You got to do everything. They hold you to that standard, but that's good because I hold myself to that standard.
Yeah.
I should be. And like I said, when I got burned and got hurt, I was beating myself up. That's one thing I was like, man, I'm a captain. I teach live fire and here I am getting burned. Like, I suck,
Wow.
And then my chief, I remember one of my buddies, he's like, hey man, would you have done the same thing again? I said, yeah. And he goes, okay, you did nothing wrong. Wrong, running, indifferent. You made a decision and you did it. You made a decision though, for the better cause.
Is it a put down if you get burned? I mean, is it?
No, but for me, I was beating myself up because I always hold such a high standard for myself.
Did you feel you made a mistake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kind of. Not a mistake, but like I shouldn't have put myself in that position.
But you didn't know.
But I didn't know. But that's just me overthinking something that's not really there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us do that just with everyday life. Oh, man, I don't know how many times I've overthought things. And I talk to somebody and they bring me back to reality. Like, no, chill. Like, everything's going to be fine.
Because the risk is always there.
Risk is always there. Yeah. You got to that's when you go, oh, risk versus gain. We just talk about that balance, right? Like, if I do this, what's the outcome going to be?
Yeah, the risk is always there that something could happen.
Yeah, we have that calculated risk. And I think no matter how much I had like burn survivors or anything like that teaching when I was coming up in the academy, telling me like, this is crazy. Like, you never think, when I started working for the Forest Service, like my captain was so dialed that I was like, this fool would never put me in that situation.
Yeah.
Never. And then I was in that situation and I'm like scared for my life. I'm like, man, I never thought so early in my career, here I am putting my friends' bodies out. Like, what in the world? I was like the best hiker then. I was super excited to go to fires. I was like, man, and that pushed me like this, boom, back to reality. And I started drinking 30 pack after that a day. You know what I mean? And just, yeah, it was all bad.
That ends up being a good fear though, right? It's when you get a little cocky.
Oh yeah.
And be that guy.
I tell the guys that
like you got to have a little bit of fear and respect for the fire.
Yeah. Because that fire, yeah, that's the thing. You got to respect it. If you don't, it's going to get you. It'll get you for sure. It got me. I respected it, but, we didn't know they were cooking nothing before.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one hurt, too, because I fell through, got burnt. I fell through, but then I kept pushing. I had my tool till I was down on the floor. Heavy fire, and I have a video of it. And
so the fire was underneath the floor?
It was, the whole room was on fire, but under the floor, we didn't know that the foundation, the subfloor was compromised. Because if I knew that, we wouldn't have made entry. I would have
You expect it on the roof, right?
Yeah. You're gonna like in the attic or something. But yeah, the floor, like we didn't have any signs from it. When the main fire was going, so we didn't know. And as I fell through the second time, I thought something hot filled my boot. So when I emptied my boot, nothing came out. So I worked for like another 20 more minutes, and I'm like, something ain't right. So I went, took off my sock. All my gear was good. It was like radiant heat hit my foot, and the whole thing, all my skin was hanging off my foot. And I'm like, oh. So I'm not even gonna lie, me being Like I've done so much stuff at work, like cut myself with a grinder, burn myself, and I didn't say nothing. So I was like, I think I'm good. I can probably, and it's like my whole foot, the whole top of my foot in the back. I'm like, it's like wax, you know, and all the skin's in there. I'm like, I could probably just put a Band-Aid over that thing and know, you know. But I was like, I don't even know what I was thinking. You know what I mean?
This is bad.
This is bad. Yeah, all right, it's bad. Sometimes we don't want to look and, you know, realize that. But yeah,
You were out for all of them?
a year for that one. But I've been burned a bunch. Like that's why my hands. I've been burned a lot. That's why my hair is missing over here. But yeah, a lot of burns, just little burns here and there. And then that one was the big one.
Ain't nothing like burnt hair.
Yeah. That one. Oh, I know. That's horrible. That's how the tattoo laser, when they would do that. Oh, it smelled like that? Yeah, like burning skin. Flesh. You're like, ugh. Yeah. Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Heck yeah.
We'll have to
Got to do it again.
Hell yeah. I'm down. Heck yeah. I'm down.
We do one more thing, man. We have a little bit of fun here. I know we talked serious, man, but we do a thing called the Furious 5. We ask you 5 furious questions. We have a little bit of fun here.
Let's do it.
You ready?
Yep.
Question number 1 for Ian. Oh my God. Here we go. Question number 1. Who or what is your favorite band of all time? You can pick one band.
I love Social D now. Like
Social D.
Yeah, but I still do street music. You know what I'm saying?
Still just okay.
So like new artists?
Anybody?
Oh, I mean, I loved Wu-Tang growing up. I don't know why. That was just, I think we all
Wait a
did.
minute. If you were a homeboy, you had to love oldies.
Oldies too, yeah. Bretton Wood.
I'm just gonna say that right now.
No, like I've listened to I listen to all music, but I don't have like a favorite artist.
You don't have a favorite artist?
No, I really
just
don't.
a good mix.
A good mix, yeah. Because I'll listen to, Deuce Face here, then I'll listen to a whole, Social D here, then Tiger Army here, like, and then some underground stuff, like EOP or some of those Dell or AC Alone, Shapeshifters.
Oh, so you're all over.
So I'm all over because I grew up in that LA culture, right?
Yeah.
Like the same generation you did.
Yeah.
Where I grew up around all those dudes, living legends when they were down there, House of Blues, like. Yeah, I was in that scene for a while.
It's so funny because it even gets into like Spanish music too.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? It's.
Oh yeah, I used to watch Telemundo, Channel 34. I was with the guys on the station.
When you live in LA, it's just that whole
LA
mix, right? It's just like,
which is cool.
Rap, rock, Spanish music. It's just everything's just a mix, and you kind of just like that's our culture. That's how we grew up.
And it's cool to be a part of that culture, but not to be Chicano. You know what I mean? Like, because I grew up around them, and then be accepted by them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're invited to the carne asada, right?
All right, thank you. I love that. We had pozole the other night. I couldn't eat it because of my tooth.
We did too.
I couldn't eat it because I could barely eat the harmony. I'm like, oh man, I can't eat this week.
Pozole on a cold day?
Bomb.
Yeah, it's the best, bro.
Yeah.
Well, we were just grubbing the other day. Question number 2. The worst tattoo you ever got?
Oh man. My ex-girlfriend's name? Dee Dee on my head?
On the head.
When I was like 13 or 14, I just went ham. You know what I mean? I don't know what I was thinking. Like, names back then?
Yeah.
They were the thing.
Yeah. I got the wife. Well, the wife.
The wife, yeah. That's important.
I got the wife. I mean, it was. You got her name too, but we've been together 32 years.
But then all the other tattoos too. The game.
But I always tease her. I said, I got this, but if we ever break up, then I'll just put the Dia de los Muertos over her face.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Right?
Yep.
Quick fix, bro.
Yeah. Better than a name, dude.
She's like, you better not.
Yeah, because the name you gotta do that.
Especially on the head, bro.
Yeah.
How did you cover?
That was lasered.
Did you laser it off?
Yeah. I was like, just take that off one too.
Does that one hurt? On the head, lasered? Because they say laser hurts more than the tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. But you know what? Even getting tattooed on the head, though, doesn't hurt as bad as other areas because the skin's tighter, and I think they turn the voltage on the machine or whatever they do, all the joules or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's a little different, I think.
Oof.
I didn't have a problem. My head didn't hurt. Tattooed.
Man.
Yeah.
Question number 3 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. What would this Ian tell YA Ian if he can go back?
To keep pushing through and have hope and faith no matter what. Don't ever give up. Yep. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yep.
If me and you, question number 4, if me and you went back to your old neighborhood to get some grub, where are you taking me, bro?
Corner liquor store.
The corner liquor store.
Oh, yeah.
What are we getting?
Burritos.
They have burritos at the corner liquor store.
Yep. Off of Locust Hill. Yeah. They have back then the liquor stores in LA, it's like a bodega, right? Or like kind of like how the East Coast has it. There was a lot of
a good mix of stuff, right?
Yeah, and usually it was a Chicano family that owned the liquor store. So there was other stuff being made there.
Right.
Bomb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get a 40 in that.
Get the big pickle in the jar.
Yep.
Salitos with the lemon. All kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
we still do that hot mix at work. The guys do. They'll put the pickles and eggs and all that in the thing, leave it
All
in there.
together?
Yeah. That's a trip.
Last question. Question number 5 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. Who do you admire the most?
God. First and foremost, yeah.
Man.
Yep.
Amen. Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out, Ian.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I appreciate it, man.
Today was crazy, too. I didn't even make it home, like, because my car had to get a rental. Because my truck engine light came on, my diesel, so I take it to Mark Christopher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so my truck's there. I had to get a rental. They take me to the rental place, and they're like, we don't have any rental cars. And it's like 2:30, and I'm like, I hadn't eaten yet. I was like, oh no, this ain't gonna be good. Because I had to go to the dentist again today to get my crown fixed.
I got to get mine, bro.
Dude, the permanent one hopefully comes in next week.
Mine comes in Monday.
They're putting permanent cement on now, though, so that's good. They're putting permanent cement on the temp. They're like, hey, just put permanent.
That's the thing that sucks
I
when you
know.
get old. You get all these little aches and pains and stuff you got to get fixed. When you're young, you don't care about that stuff.
Nah, you just push through it.
Yeah.
All that stamina and testosterone, you're like, ain't nothing. I still think that way. And then I'm like, no, I'm not that anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can still put it down, but like, man, it's just hard. So I get tired, I get winded quicker, you know.
Yeah.
But you know what though? I'll be toe to toe with the guys 20 years younger than me. You know what I mean? And I still hold my own.
Still got it.
You can tell us, and I'm like, hey, come on, like, what's up? Why you falling behind? You know, like, you're way older, you're way younger than me. You know, when I always do that when I was your age. You know,
Yeah.
that whole like, I could have smoked you up that hill. You know, I would never let anybody get the nozzle. You know what I mean?
Never.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Anybody you want to shout out before we get out of here?
Station 25, San Jacinto.
Oh, let's go.
Yep.
They ain't playing over there.
Nope, we ain't playing. Jack boys.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Street Gospel Podcast. We love you guys. We out. Peace.